Motogp moves away from Japan and over to Thailand for the Thailand Grand Prix at the Chang International Circuit. It's the last race on the triple header as well. Just 4 races remain here. Thailand, and then 2 weeks time, the Australian Grand Prix as we return to Phillip Island. And then we go racing once again in Malaysia on the 23rd of October. The season rounds out completely on the 6th of November at Valencia. In terms of the Riders' Championship, Quartararo leads by just 18 points to Pepe Bagnaia. If Bagnaia wins the race, Quartararo must finish 8th or better to keep the lead of the Drivers' Championship. Anything is possible here, and anything also can happen. Oh, how right I was. Hello everybody, good morning to you, and welcome to a completely unpredictable situation. We are on here early. I'm not even wearing the correct clothes for the race. I was supposed to change from my hoodie into a nice shirt. I'll be doing that shortly. But we are currently live. Let me explain to you exactly what is going on. Now, we commentate on Moto 2 and Moto 3 so that they can be used by other people who cover the series as a form of reference point for commentary. We were midway through the Moto 2 race when the red flag came out. Why, you ask? Due to massive rainstorm. The race was eventually delayed 5 to 10 minutes as well. Then we completed 8 of 16 rescheduled laps before we had to red flag due to the fact that it was literally a lake and Noah's Ark was there. The safety car just going round there at the moment as well with Dos Capito as well. But we are in a red flag situation for the Moto 2 race. We're going to have a 5-lap race for Moto 2 at some point before the start of Motogp. So obviously, that is in a bit of a pickle with us because we've got our pre-show and we've got the Moto 2 to finish. So we've come up with this genius solution that we've been told the pit lane will open at 2:20. So we've come up with this ingenious solution. Just this once, you get Moto 2, a restarted race, the second half live, and then we'll continue with our normal build-up for Motogp. But let's take a quick look back then at what happened in the practice sessions as well, because at the moment we may as well, because we've got nothing else going on, which means I have got to find where it is in the proceedings and send you over. I am actually wearing the same thing, so let's take a look now what happened in practice. Green light is on at the end of the pit. Green light is on at the end of the pit lane, and we are underway then for Motogp free practice number 1. Here we are back. Use the hashtag ThaiGP to get in touch, and it's Motogp. Now, the track at the moment is a bit of a weird one. It is dry in a certain area as well. A few damp parts out the circuit. More rain is predicted later on throughout the day, mainly the start of free practice 2 for Moto 3 and main to Moto 2. So they're all going out there. Looks like on a set of slicks at the moment as well, maybe with a wet rear tyre just in case, because if you crash at this track, believe me, it hurts. But they're out there now on the circuit, and so far all looking good. Marc Marquez running out as well. Born, of course, 17th of February 1993, 29 years old. Bit of spray in the air actually, so wet tyres I would think are the to go at the moment. Oh, and Marc Marquez is down. Marc Marquez has already crashed out. Well, this is amazing. Now, it looks like he's just dropped the front bike as well, as everyone's just doing their only lap times. And Quartararo on top. Sector 2, Marc Marquez has gone down on the deck. Now, he's back up. He's trying to bump start the bike as well. Looks like he's going to get it going again. This is how he did it then. Coming into the braking zone, into turn 3, the hairpin. And as the front dip away from him on the down part of the track, goes up very, very wide actually. I think as soon as he touches the blue, it's going to buck away from him. Yeah, so a wide run for Marc and just a little bit of a slip off the bike. So it's not as big a crash as we thought it might be. It's just an okay one. Marc's back out there as well. The yellow flag's been rescinded. Here it is, listen. brakes, runs it deep, and just drops off it. Nothing at all. That's a mini crash. Nothing bad at all. Maverick Vinales then jumps up to the top stop as well, a 132.098. Very good indeed. Rins coming across, Miller in P7. Rins goes 5th. Miller's the one we're all watching though. Oh, Oliveira's down. Oliveira has gone down on the deck. So Miguel Oliveira's crashed out, and that is in sector 4. Miller goes 2nd, 132.184. But Oliveira has crashed out on the deck as Bagnaia goes 8th faster as well. And looks like they're going to be able to get him out there, hopefully. It shouldn't be too much of a problem as Oliveira now gets pushed away. So maybe that bike is actually switched off and they can't get it out of the gravel. Let's take a look at it. So this is what happened to Oliveira. Just dropped it. The front dropped on him and the bike span out. He's lost one of his winglet fairings as well, so it's not going to do all that well. We're operating on a limited budget up here in the moment in the commentary box as well, because the tweet deck's gone down again and our main monitor's gone down. So we're looking at a mini monitor at the moment. But Marc Marquez back on the bike after crashing a few minutes ago, and he's looking strong. So 4 minutes and 20 seconds left in this session. Not much has been going on. Marquez, however, is on course for top spot. So is Quartararo and Martin in the moment. It's Zarco, Bagnaia, Quartararo, Miller, Alex Rins, Marini, Morbidelli, Martin, Marc Marquez and Kyle Crutchlow, the top 10 going through automatic Q2. And if it rains later on as well, that's really going to be the situation and key factor in deciding things. Fabio Di Giannantonio as well is looking mega fast. Zarco goes top, Gardner goes 2nd, Di Giannantonio goes top now, 131.357. Martin's about to cross a lap time, so is Fabio Quartararo, so is Marc Marquez as well. It's all getting quite up there as well. Here comes Martin at the last corner then, 10th to 1st by half a 10th. For 0.492 faster, Martin goes faster. Quartararo and Marquez also predicted to go half a second faster. Quartararo crosses the line, goes top, 136.44, 7/10 quicker. Marquez is currently estimated a 10th faster. Out of the last corner for Marc Marquez then, booting it hard towards the line. Marc Marquez goes top, 1:35.23, 4/10 of a second quicker than Quartararo. Marc is back in Buriram. And it's the same two who provided us with a photo finished in 2019, who's top here at the moment. Beautiful. Miller is fighting with the bike through turn 11 as he comes across the line. He's dead on the time for Marquez and goes 3rd, 0.065 off the pace. Look at that from the top 3 separation. Checker flag is out. Marquez top, Quartararo 2nd, Miller goes 3rd. Oliveira goes into 6th place despite crashing earlier on in the session. Morbidelli goes 7th, Crutchlow 10th. Bezzecchi rounds out the order as well, 16th. Alex Marquez 20th fastest as well, so top honours there looking good. Bastianini goes into 8th place as well. Good ending then to free practice 1 here for the Thai Grand Prix of Motogp. A lot of action, a lot of anticipation on the return here. And Quartararo, who is now leading the championship by 18 points to Pepe Bagnaia coming into this weekend as well, needed to have a good opening session. He's had that with P2, with Bastianini going down as well outside the top 10. So is Bagnaia in P13 at the moment. Can Bagnaia do anything across the line to improve his own times? Yes, Bagnaia goes 6th. Great time then from Bagnaia to get up the order on the board. So it's Marquez from Quartararo, Miller, Martin, Rins, Bagnaia, Oliveira, Morbidelli, Bastianini and Jorge Martin, the top 10 as things stand going in to free practice 2 later on today. Well, the Moto2 runners have literally just gone back out onto the circuit and the rain is coming down even heavier. So once again, I'm afraid the red flag has come out even on the sighting lap as well. So I suppose this gives us an idea if we're not going to get a Moto2 race, we're probably not going to get a MotoGP race for a very, very long time. The rain coming down is akin to what we see, and I believe they've cancelled the race. I think they've just cancelled this race. On the monitors, we'll wait to see official info that Moto2 might have finished. I've had the quickest costume change in history while you've been watching first practice. New trousers, shirt on as well, and run back down to the commentary box. But the rain is absolutely atrocious out there as well. It was the correct decision to stop the race. and it was the correct decision not to restart it as well. Where do we go from here then for Moto 2? That's the question, because it's not going to get any drier, and we've only got 40 minutes until the scheduled start of MotoGP. Is MotoGP going to start on time, or are we in a situation like in Indonesia where we're going to be sat around waiting? You can't wait too long. It's 2:22, and there are other series on today, including Formula One. Sunset in a few hours' time. Now, when is sunset in Thailand? That's what we need to see as well. We need to first of all take a look at well, let's have a look. Sunset in the Chang International Circuit is at 17:56. It's currently 2:23. So that would be 3 hours and 30 minutes time. So 3 hours and 30 minutes is when everything has to be called off. And now before that, the Moto 2 race will not be restarted. Half points will be awarded as 2/3 of the race distance was not completed. So we've come on here slightly early to tell you that the race will not restart, and it is Tony Arbolino who has taken a race victory here in Moto 2. Now this does mean, what do we see for the future? Half points awarded. So we're going to go into the MotoGP race now, and we're not going to have any clue what's going to happen. Do stay with us, because now we're going to show you the rest of our scheduled build-up, and when we come back, hopefully, we might know where we are going and what we are doing. But at the moment, the red flag is out. All of the track action has stopped due to the track conditions. So we now go over, and we will return you now to the pre-show. Tony Arbolino celebrating. He's won the Moto 2 race here after literally at the line. After Philip Salat went off the track, Arbolino passed him on the inside line, just at the line. Then he put his hand up to red flag the race, and it was the perfect thing. We saw Dovi do that a couple of years ago. So red flag, the Moto 2 race will not be restarted. Let's pass it back over then for the build-up show, and on the other side, hopefully, we might have a MotoGP race. We'll update you as we go. And the green light is on, and away we go for practice 2 here at Buriram at the Thai Grand Prix. This morning's session, Marc Marquez, Fabio Quartararo, Jack Miller, Luca Marini, Alex Rins, Pepe Bagnaia, Miguel Oliveira, Franco Morbidelli, and Eobashi and Jorge Martin were the top 10 to go through. It's dry at the moment as well. The track temperature looking quite good. Nobody is expecting rain. So this second session is going to be more crucial than this morning's, unlike what we saw in Japan, which is great news for MotoGP. The green light is on, and away we go. Bagnaia's just got a little bit too wide coming out of turn 6 as well. He's kept it on the track this time around. No one's improved on their previous session, bar Darren Binder. His lap time cancelled now for the 72 once again of Marco Bezzecchi due to exceeding track limits. But no one's improving on their time from this morning. Track temperature 34 degrees, air temperature 28 degrees, 70% humidity. There's still room for improvement in this session, so don't be fooled. And Marco Bezzecchi's gone down at turn 3. The marshals have pushed him away. Just looks like a simple front turn in. There's Jack Attack, the winner of last weekend's Grand Prix, just watching on. Marc Marquez looking mega fast once again out here at Buriram, who was fastest this morning at 1:30.523. And now seems to be even quicker as we ride with him through the back half of the track. Fabio Di Gianantonio has crashed in the second sector and brought out the yellow flag. It's at turn 3. So it's at the hairpin after the long back straightaway. And it looks like he's going to get up and walk away. Let's take a look how he did it. Presumably, the front's going to dip in. His trail braking in. Slides it. Front's going to dip. Yeah, and just drifts out. Nothing he could do there about it. And luckily, he's okay. Jorge Martin goes to the top of the board with a 1:30.471 then. Finally, he does go quicker than Marc Marquez. It's taken 40 minutes to get some quicker times. I've got the medium front soft rear tyre in there as well. So Martin goes to the top of the pile. Now we're going to see the times really start to come down the last 5 minutes. This is going to be an insane couple of moments for MotoGP as everyone improves on their lap times as they hurtle downhill once again. And Eobashi turning in, looking quite quick. Binder's crashed just in front of us. Binder's gone down, so that's even worse for Darren. Just runs it out, he's walking away, but the bike's hit the barrier, so he's done. That's going to bring out yellow in the third sector, and that's where Martin's just gone through. Did he get past the crash in time through turn 7? Well, we've had a massive power failure up in the commentary box as well. And Jack Miller running wide at turn 12, coming back on just in the path of Marc Marquez. Almost caused a huge accident. We've got no idea why, but we've lost all our timings up here in the commentary box as well. But it is Johan Zarco who has entered the session fastest, a 1:30.281. So times did improve from this morning, but not all that much as well. Hopefully we'll get the top 10. It's Zarco, Bagnaia, Martin 1, 2, 3, Marquez 4, Quartararo 5, Miller 6th, Marini 7th, Oliveira 8th, Rins 9th, and Morbidelli the top 10. A good second practice, but nobody improving for the first 40 minutes. It was literally the last 5. Everybody improved out there. Green light is on at the end of the pit lane then, and we are underway for the Motogp free practice 3 session for the Thai Grand Prix. Top 10 at the moment: Zarco, Bagnaia, Martin, Marquez, Quartararo, Miller, Marini, Oliveira, Rins and Morbidelli going through. Aleix Espargaro now down in towards turn number 1. What's he done? Trail breaking in. That Aprilia looking super smooth as well. And a little bit of a step up actually down at turn 3 to be worried about. But first time on the board then, it's Johan Zarco, Pepe Bagnaia, Jorge Martin still. So the top 3 still the same from what we've had previously. Oh, we've got a yellow, sector 4. So this is at the last corner. There, it's Jorge Martin. Jorge Martin has gone down in the last corner. Now the marshals are with him immediately. He's going to push the bike straight to the pit lane. Well, if you're going to crash, you may as well crash at the entrance to pit lane. That's one of the best places to go down. Looks like he's turned in, the front tipped away from him as well. Marc Marquez goes through, and straight to the pit lane now comes Jorge Martin from his accident. Let's take a look. Yellow flag's been rescinded. And it looks like, the one with the camera picks up with him, he's just at the bottom there. So it looks like the front has dipped away from him, and he gets pulled back in. But an all right, an all right accident there for Jorge Martin. 1:10 to go then. Marc Marquez was throwing the bike in every which way he could possibly go in order to try and stay up there. Martin is the fastest. We've got a yellow flag, sector 2, Jack Miller. And that's a big one for Jack Miller. That's going to wreck everybody else's lap time. That puts Marquez 10th, and everyone else in front of that crash in sector 2 is now going to get the perfect lap time. It's down at turn 3 for Jack Miller. That's a big, heavy crash after a fast run. And Aleix Espargaro knows he's going to go through the next part of qualifying. He's shaking his head. 1:38.31, not a great time there. Martin at 1:32.05. Miller, Zarco, Bagnaia, Quartararo, Rins, Bezzecchi, Bassini, Marini, Marquez. The top 10 at the moment. Yellow flag still out, second sector. They're all going through it, including Aleix Espargaro. That's his lap done. Lap time done then for Aleix, thanks to Miller's crash. He knows it. So it looks like that's the order, unless anyone can improve. Binder might just have been through in time as the checkered flag comes out now. So is Binder through or not? Cross the line he goes up to 6th, he does! He was past the zone! Binder does a 1:30.405 and knocks Marc Marquez out of qualifying 2. Aleix Espargaro has had his lap time cancelled. Bagnaia takes the checkered flag, so does Quartararo, so does Binder. Yellow flag now retrieved, but it's too late. Nobody has the ability to set another lap time. So the top 10 going into qualifying 2 is Jorge Martin, Jack Miller, Johan Zarco, Pepe Bagnaia, Fabio Quartararo, Brad Binder, Alexander Rins. Then we get Bassini, Bezzecchi and Marini. The top 10 automatically through. Marc Marquez and Aleix Espargaro have to go through qualifying number 1. And the green light is on for free practice number 4. But unfortunately, neither of our timing graphics are. But it's Fabio Di Giannantonio for the first time, from Dan Bin a second. Miguel Oliveira just jumps to the top as well. Final practice then as well. It's the last session for everyone to get their bikes ready for qualifying and as well the important race prep. As we predicted, nothing has happened in free practice 4 whatsoever, but it's Johan Zarco who is top at the moment with Jack Miller second, Marco Bezzecchi third, Jorge Martin is in fourth, Brad Binder is in fifth position at the moment as well. Then Morbidelli, Colorado, Bastianini Oliveira wins the top 10. Free practice 4 is over then, and it is Johan Zarco, Jack Miller, Marco Bezzecchi, Brad Binder, Jorge Martin, Franco Morbidelli, Fabio Colorado, Alex Rins, and Bastianini Miguel Oliveira, the top 10. Nothing happened in practice 4, not really a surprise unfortunately, but Jack Miller looks hot and bothered. Who's going to be on pole position? Qualifying is up next. And the green light is on, and we are underway for Motogp qualifying here at Motorland for the Thailand Grand Prix as well. The Chang International Circuit having to go through the first part of qualifying due to everybody improving this morning. In free practice number 3 is Marc Marquez, Miguel Oliveira, Franco Morbidelli, Aleix Espargaro, Carl Crutchlow, Remy Gardner, Fabio Di Giannantonio, Maverick Vinales, Paul Espargaro, Alex Marquez, Darren Binder, Raul Fernandez, Takiki Nakashima, and Danny Petrucci. So Danny Petrucci, Petrux back on the bike. First time I've actually mentioned him this weekend. Petrux having to go through as well. Let's see what the next 15 minutes then has to offer in Q1. So the first lap times have been completed, and it's Marc Marquez on top at 1:30.343. Aleix Espargaro second. Then we got Miguel Oliveira in third, Di Giannantonio fourth, Fernandez fifth, Marquez sixth, Paul Espargaro seventh, Vinales 8th, Gardner 9th, Nakashima is 10th, Binder 11th, and now Morbidelli goes 4th, Crutchlow goes 2nd. What a lap time from Carl Crutchlow, 1:35.42. Carl Crutchlow on the With You Yamaha jumps up to 2nd position and gets into the top 10. Brilliant. Aleix Espargaro, fastest all 3 sectors, across the line goes top with a 1:32.02. Paul Espargaro 4th, Alex Marquez goes 6th. But now Maverick Vinales also looking good to make it possibly a 1-2 for Yamaha for the Aprilias across the line as well. Across the line, Vinales only goes 4th. So that's 14th on the grid. And it's Aleix Espargaro and Marc Marquez, the 2 riders going through. 1 Aprilia, 1 Honda. Yamaha 3rd for Carl Crutchlow as well. That's 13th on the grid. But it's all close now with 2 minutes to go. Lap time cancelled for the 21 of Franco Morbidelli for exceeding track limits. Here we go again though. Marquez gets a big wiggle on coming towards turn number 1 as well, and almost loses the bike, and that's another lap messed up, and he'll only have one other attempt after this now. Vinales crosses the line, 4th at the moment, stays 4th. Marc Marquez, despite the wiggle on through turn number 1, he's still faster, and he's going side by side with Franco Morbidelli into the last corner on this track as well. Morbidelli's held it, Marc's trying to get the cut back as well. They're racing towards the line, and across the line goes Morbidelli. Marquez goes top on a 1:30.038. Oliveira goes second, 1:30.099, 0.061 separate them. So, unbelievably, Franco Morbidelli couldn't do anything about it. But Marc Marquez, despite having one of the messiest laps we've seen, into turn 1 was all messy. Turn 2 was just about okay. He's gone top as the checkered flag comes out. Nobody improving. Well, Morbidelli's gone fastest in the first sector. We'll keep an eye on him. Everybody else is around about normal. But I think Marc might have just snuck through there. Daniel Petrucci takes the checkered flag. Alex Marquez already did that as well. Now Maverick Vinales takes the flag. So that's that done. I don't think Morbidelli's going to get through. He's 6/10 off in the middle sector. Crutchlow's 4/10 off. So I don't think there's going to be any improvement there. There isn't. They're coming in anyway. So it looks to me that the end of qualifying number 1 here for the Thai Grand Prix, it is Marc Marquez and Miguel Oliveira going through to the next part of qualifying. Starting 13th back on the grid, Aleix Espargaro, Franco Morbidelli, Carl Crutchlow, Raul Fernandez, Maverick Vinales, Remy Gardner, Paul Espargaro, Alex Marquez, Fabio Di Giannantonio, Takiki Nakashima, Darren Binder, and Daniel Petrucci. But it's pole position currently looking the way of Marc Marquez, who's done a 1:30.038, the fastest lap of the weekend so far. He's top of Q1. Can he now top Q2? Now's the important time as the green light goes on and qualifying 2 gets underway for the Motogp Thailand Grand Prix at the Chang International Circuit. Going out in this session, Johan Zarco, who topped the group stages, then Luca Marini, Fabio Quartararo, Enea Bastianini, Brad Binder, Alex Rins, Jack Miller, Francesco Bagnaia, Marco Bezzecchi, Miguel Oliveira, as well as Jorge Martin and Marc Marquez. Marc Marquez just jumped up from qualifying 1 as well, topping the timesheets. Eyes slitted, teeth gritted. He's really focused on what he needs to do as we get underway for qualifying number 2 for the Thai Grand Prix. Who do you think is going to be on pole position? My personal bet, it's either going to be Quartararo or it's going to be Marc Marquez. Marc's been flying all weekend long. Literally, in some cases, he topped practice number 1. Let's see what we're going to see. Q2 is go. First lap times on the board then. Jack Miller's just got pole position, a 1:30.106. He's 0.060 faster than Quartararo. Martin goes third. Bezzecchi, Zarco, Marquez, Bastianini, Bagnaia, Binder, Marini, Rins. Oliveira hasn't done a time yet. 1:29.893 for Jorge Martin. And he goes pole position with the fastest time of the weekend by 2/10. And Johan Zarco jumps up to P2, 700th of a second down on the time. But this is an insane run here as well as Quartararo crosses the line, stays in 4th position. The battles are on. First lap time's done. And that's the running order. And Peppo Bagnaia does pole position. That it was a crucial time. 1:29.775. That came at precisely the right time. He had to find something. He needed to find something, and he's done it. 1:29.775. Martin second, but he's faster in the first 2 sectors as well, so he's not over yet. Luca Marini crossing the line in P10 and stays P10, but Martin 2/10 up at the moment. He could go provisional pole, but Bagnaia taking it away at the moment. What have they got left in the final 2 minutes of quali? Last 30 seconds of qualifying then as well. Martin's out of the last corner. Does he go to provisional pole position? He's 0.240 up at the moment. Martin takes provisional pole position. 1:29.692. Bezzecchi also looking quick just behind as well. Can he find something on the time? Quartararo is 4th fastest. And Marc Marquez is also in the touching zone as well as Bezzecchi continues through. Checkered flag is out. The session is over. Who is going to take provisional pole position? And who's going to take overall pole position? Now Martin's fastest of all in the first sector. Bezzecchi's down a little bit in sector 3. Marquez is in the touching zone. Quartararo's 2/10 back. Here comes Bezzecchi to the line. Can he get on the front row? The green at least. He goes pole. 1:29.671. He gained so much time back in that 4th and last sector. That was a beautiful lap. Marco Bezzecchi currently on his first ever pole position. Marquez has to sit out of it. Marquez has lost it. He will not stand on pole position. He only finishes in 8th. 1:30.133. He had a step out the last corner. He won't do it. Quartararo 6th at the moment, goes 4th, middle of the second row, 1/3, well, stop of the second row, 1:29.909, and it honestly looks like nobody else improving. Jorge Martin's just had the fastest middle sector. Martin might just take this away from Marco Bezzecchi for the first ever pole position for the Mooney VR46 team as well. Will it be Marco Bezzecchi's on pole, or will Jorge Martin do something about it? Into the last corner we go. Booted hard on the Prima Pramac Caddy. Is it another pole this season for Jorge Martin? No! He's a 10th down. It is pole position for Marco Bezzecchi on the Mooney VR46 bike, number 72. Jorge Martin's bikes, can't believe it. Jack Miller finishes in 7th. It's a Ducati pole, 1-2-3 lockout, but it's the Mooney VR46 team that get their moment in the sun and the first ever pole for Marco Bezzecchi. And they are cheering. It's a new all-time lap record, 1:29.671. Bezzecchi on pole, Martin is 2nd, Bagnaia 3rd, Quartararo 4th, Zarco 5th, Bastianini 6th, Miller 7th, Marquez 8th, Marini 9th, Rins is 10th, Oliveira 11th, and Binder is in 12th position. Wow! Well, that was the dry of yesterday, and in the wet of today, welcome to everyone just joining us. The start procedure has been delayed for Motogp as well. In fact, they're not even out there on the pit lane or even on the track at the moment as well. They've completely called it off as well. The reason is because the amount of water coming down on this 2.83 mile circuit is just unbelievable. So the red flag has officially been put out, but this is for the track conditions. So the red flag is to say that no one can go on the circuit, nobody can go out, do exploratory lap times, only the safety car can go out there and make sure everything is okay. So start delayed, we've got a lot to talk about, and also just a reminder that W Series is coming your way at 9:35 UK time as well. Lights out at 9:45. Megan will be joining me in the commentary box here for MotoGP before then going over to the W Series commentary box alongside Ian Birch. I will be staying here with MotoGP, and knowing my luck, W Series will completely finish its race before MotoGP even starts. Formula 1 is still go for 11:45. Might have to change that to 12. Not too sure what we've got there at the moment in terms of the procedure for the show. SHT says, hi mate, many motorsport series to be covered today. Just a couple. That's still red flag. Look at that. That's showing the Moto2 race on one screen now. That's weird. We've switched over to Moto2, when a second ago, if you remember, it was just showing the MotoGP graphics. Anyway, let's save this and go over to BT Sport. Nat Quirk.
Welcome to race. It's round 17 of the championship, and time to see if there'll be another twist in the title in Thailand. We're back in Buriram, northeast of Bangkok, for the first time in 3 years. The fans certainly haven't forgotten about the 2 races we've already had here at the Chang International Circuit, and they've returned in their numbers. Excited to see what the class of 2022 has to offer. But as expected, the weather has played its part in proceedings already today. Greetings from Thailand. Thank you for staying up with us, or good morning if you're just switching on. You'll notice there is a bit of a delay in proceedings because we've had monsoon-like conditions here at the Chang International Circuit. Full team out with me. It's not just me getting wet for a change. We've got Sylvain Gintoli, Neil Hodgson, Michael Laverty. How are the socks, Neil?
Yeah, it's still wet. Definitely wet.
Yeah.
Obviously, I borrowed them off my daughter, you can tell anyway, so she's not going to be happy. But,
yeah, fairly damp here, and we only had 8 laps of the Moto2 race. That cut short, that red flagged. It's been unbelievable. It has been, well, I say forecast, but it's hard to follow the forecast here because we thought it was going to be all weekend, and actually, MotoGP riders this weekend have had some dry track time. This is the first time they'll have the full wet conditions.
Yeah, it's going to be a crazy race. They've not spun one lap in the wet, and this is going to be about who can adapt the quickest, who's going to be on the money straight away, taking the risks. I just can't wait. I think Marquez is going to be in the mix, and there are going to be some other guys back in the grid that are going to see this as a massive opportunity. So, yeah, it's going to be exciting.
It's really changed the complexion, really, Hodgie, hasn't it, of the whole day and what could possibly happen.
Totally. It's turned it upside down. We thought, actually, anyway, in the dry, it was going to be one of those where it's a little bit difficult to call, but now it is a lottery, and Sylvain's so right. It's who can adapt quickly. They're all renowned wet weather riders, but some of them take a while to get up to speed because normally throughout a weekend you'll get a chance to ride it in these conditions, but you have to be on it straight away from the first corner. So when you think of that, you do think of Marc Marquez. He's usually the man who will take risks. Obviously, he's nowhere in this championship, so expect to see him right at the front.
How concerned do you expect, Michael, of Pecco Bagnaia to be looking at the clouds? And it has stopped raining now, but obviously a very wet circuit, and that was something that he said he's struggled with, not just in Japan in qualifying, but actually all year.
He's going to be nervous. The Ducati team planned that they will fix it, but they won't have fixed it in time for this race. So Motogp was only 1 week ago. He's not had any real wet weather running this weekend to evaluate the setup. So he's going to be struggling. He's starting from the head of the grid. He's done a good job in qualifying, but I just see it being a tough day at the office. So we look back at Indonesia and it was a tough day for him, and I think it might be a replication of that here in this race.
Yeah, look at how different the conditions are just 24 hours ago. Glorious sunshine, which we weren't expecting, but as I say, it's really hard to call. How do you think that's going to change, even though he's going from the front, Sylvain? There's been no out-and-out favourite, really, all weekend, has there? And again, things are going to change because of the weather.
Yeah, I think there's two things here. I think Pecco, obviously, because he struggled so much in Motogp in the qualifying in the wet, what he needed really here is a full wet session to get used to it, to get his feedback. It's all about feedback, and the game, the gains he's looking for are not huge, so he needed a little bit of time. So I can't see him being at the sharp end straight away in that race anyway. And I think Fabio will see this actually as an opportunity, because he's sandwiched in between, 3 Ducatis in front of him, 3 Ducatis at the back of him, and he was then probably thinking this is going to be a really tough race and I'm going to have to make the difference in the first laps. Fabio now likes the rain, he likes a challenge, and he knows that Pecco was weak in Motogp, so this could be really good for Fabio as well.
Yeah, which is a bit of a change, isn't it, Hodgie? Because previously Fabio had not really been a fan of the wet weather conditions, but he has improved in that area, hasn't he?
Yeah, he's worked hard on it, and it's pretty impressive. And again, I think Sylvain's right. He'll see this as an opportunity. I mean, Is he third on the grid, surrounded by Ducatis?
Fourth on the grid.
Fourth on the grid, sorry. Yeah, so it's 3 in front of him, 3 behind him. So, yeah, I think in the dry, he was always in that situation where he was going to get beat up a little bit. So, yeah, he can adapt quickly as well. He's a good starter and he's quite aggressive. The problem is, and it's hero or zero, you do that, you took the front on the brakes, and everyone's like, why did you not let the race come to you? You should take your time. So, it's really difficult for the riders. It's hard to know what to do. Normally, if you're fighting for a championship, you're more reserved.
Yeah, it's how much risk the riders at the top of the standings are going to take in these conditions.
Yeah, I think the early laps you're going to see, row 4 is at Marc Marquez, Miguel Oliveira. Good wet weather riders, they'll take the risk on the early laps because you can gain so much. If you make a few overtakes into turn 3, the same into turn 4, all of a sudden it's game on in terms of the race. So we always talk about Jack Miller as a wet weather rider, but I'm looking back at, I think, Oliveira and Marc Marquez today. They could be and Danilo Petrucci if you want to look a little bit further down the grid.
How can we forget Danilo Petrucci? Yeah, he's at the back of the grid, but has been enjoying himself. It's going to be a tough race for him. It's the first time on the Suzuki, but has been enjoying it, and we know he likes the wet weather.
He loves the wet, and also, he can activate the tires really, really quick. He knows the wet tires from MotoGP, so he's got already quite a lot of experience. I think that's going to allow him, not to be last. Maybe fighting, around like top 15 or something like that. It's a bit of a chance for him, but it's going to be tough to go in the front. These guys are pretty quick. The way I see the race, I completely agree with you, Michael. I think Oliveira, Binder as well. The KTM boys, they're normally really good in the wet. The KTM works really well in the wet as well. I can still see Johan Zarco coming back at the end of the race to snap the victory of them there.
Well, here is your pole man, and he surprised all of us, really, didn't he? Marco Bezzecchi with his first pole in the Premier class and for the VR40 team. A rookie, of course, having a really impressive first year. What do you think his chances are now?
Yeah, it's a good question, because I'm not that sure how well he goes in these conditions.
He goes well.
Does he go well in them?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, right. Well, it's an advantage starting from pole because there's going to be a lot of spray. So if you can, you can get away. And actually, this might sound obvious what I'm going to say, but if you can get away good and lead, what that enables you to do is not to take too much risk, because that situation, you're half controlling the race. If no one's going past you, so you don't have to risk too much. It is the guys coming from the 4th row, like say your Marquez's and your Oliveiras, who will have to risk more. That said, it seems, it's spitting ever so slightly now, so I don't think we'll have as much spray by the time they decide to start this race.
Thanks very much, guys. And yeah, don't know when this race is going to start as well. At the moment, the pit lane is still closed. We've got the correct graphics up now, so it is a 25-lap race as well. We know the fans of the grandstand are happy. There's that's an Air Bashir just walking to the back of the Greneshi bike as well, getting ready to go out there. I mean, track temperature, if it ever works, because it keeps overloading the system because it's raining so hard out there. It's now light rain, look, so it's not that bad out there. Track temperature is 28 degrees, air temperature 27 degrees, so around about the same. 89% humidity. It's still raining, but now it's not as heavy as it was at Moto2 when they had to red flag the race, because that was completely just open up the water and wash it out. but they have cancelled the start procedure, which was due to go underway in 9 minutes' time. So if you remember Indonesia, right at the start of the year, I think I was even wearing the same shirt, to be fair, so maybe it's the shirt that's cursed. Somebody go back and have a look and see if I was wearing this shirt in Indonesia round 2 of the season. Anyway, we're in a delayed start procedure now, so when the pit lane eventually opens, it will be a red flag restart procedure, so a quick pit lane open. Basically, the green light will go on at the end of the pit lane. They'll get 60 seconds to leave the pits, line up on the grid. It'll be a quick start procedure, and then we'll go racing again. But there is a load of black clouds out. It's just coming up on 3 o'clock here as well. It's 2:52 current local time. Sunset is at 17:56. We need at least an hour before that, so the race can start no later than 4 p.m. and that is in 1 hour 8 minutes time. So we have a delay. Let's hope it's not going to be too bad. Let's go over and see what Neil Hodgson had on this circuit looking back. The history of onboard cameras now with Gavin Emmett.
Sergio, with the shoulder cam, we are getting some of the best onboard images we've ever seen from Dorna on the TV coverage of Motogp. But it's a long way that everything's come since the first cameras back in 1985.
Yes, the company that was sponsoring Honda for the first time ever, they decided to do something really spectacular, and they hired a guy that used to, there was a helicopter pilot, and he proposed it to install a system that they completely dismounted and turned it into 3 pieces. And they went into HRC and said, which is the best rider that can be in the middle of the pack? Let's do it with Randy Mamola. But they didn't expect that Randy Mamola was the fastest on wet. And the beauty was that the camera worked, and the not so many nice thing was that he's just escaped alone, having a complete empty tarmac in front of him, winning the race with nearly 2 more kilos. So that was a hit on history. On Monday, the guys that make it happen, they receive a call from Bernie Ecclestone saying, can we have this in Formula One? So we are so proud that we were first in motorsports this stage.
We've seen through the years how things have developed. I remember looking back at Valentino Rossi. He was then the next evolution of things.
From 2002 until today, there's a massive evolution because we started working close to the manufacturers, and they were making so much pressure to say, guys, you need to reduce the weight. It's important to mention that it doesn't exist an onboard camera in the market. You cannot buy that.
Yeah.
It's something you need to build it. We wanted the camera on the back of the bike, and we convinced Honda for 1 Grand Prix in Jerez in 2003. Valentino Rossi at that time had the camera. He was happy to have it. He wins the race. He makes a wheelie on the straight, and so it's like, guys, he won the race. Well, what's wrong with the camera? So they allowed us, and that camera came forever. At the beginning, it was so hard for us to convince them, but we knew we had to adapt to them, not them to us. One of the most desired goals was how we can do to fix the horizon axis so that people will be able to see how the bike leans. And we spent like 5 or 6 years, but it was the first time in 2010 when we were able to have this in a bike.
One of the things we can actually still see on the BT Sport app, the 360 camera was another big move forward that we've seen over recent years. And again, is this something you've designed in-house at Dorna?
Completely. The first design before the 360, it was the 540 degrees camera, which means it's like a robot, can follow another rider. The 360 came practically together in 2016 with this robot, and the 360 is a camera that allows you to see to use 4 cameras in the back of the rider, so you are sitting behind him, and we provide this in the website and in
our app, the BT Sport app, and you can move around as well. It's incredible. Move on. We talk about things getting smaller and smaller all the time. We're getting to the point now where we do have the shoulder cam. We've got actually a camera on the rider themselves.
That was something that we started working with Sony in 2018. Before going into the bike, we said, why we don't put this in mechanics or in people? Marshall that's running, and meanwhile you study and you improve your system, we can use it. But that was a prototype. Today we have the first real camera, today in 2022, that we started with Aleix Espargaró, And for the first time, we jumped out of the bike with the rider. And today, we are still improving it because every day or every experience, every weekend, allows us to improve, to make it smaller. And the next step is going to be the helmet.
Yeah, what's the future?
The helmet. At this moment, we have it on the rider. And then why not saying that next year we want to have this on the helmet? And it's not the dream, it's the challenge.
Really interesting insight there on how things have developed. Love the 360 camera, but also we're all a big fan of the shoulder cam. Gets you really up close and personal, doesn't it, on the bike with our riders. You might be able to see or might be able to hear that we're experiencing more heavy rain here at the Chang International Circuit. We've already got a delay to the Motogp race. It started coming down just before the Moto2 race. That was cut short to 8 laps. And now we're waiting to see what happens with the Motogp race. Aleix Espargaro there. I wonder, Penny, for his thoughts, because it's not really gone to plan this weekend, has it? Not just for Aleix, but for Aprilia as a whole. The bike not going forward, no rear grip, no pace against his rivals. Sylvain, will he welcome this wet weather?
I don't know, because the wet weather is not really one of Aleix's strengths either. I think he'll be thinking, I hope it rains enough so they cancel it. Because they've been really struggling in the dry. This is due to the tire construction here. Is a very specific tire that Michelin has brought in Austria for the first time, and Aprilia was struggling there with this tire. They just can't generate the grip out of the tire. And then here again is the same situation. So they've had a difficult weekend so far. I mean, yeah, for him, it's better to race in the wet than in the dry, because he was definitely going to struggle in the dry. So, yeah, I'll be hoping that it doesn't dry up, but it doesn't look like it's going to dry any second, does it?
No, there are black clouds surrounding this whole area here in Buriram. But while we wait, then, we mentioned earlier some of the riders that do like these particular conditions, and it's been a welcome return to the paddock for Danilo Petrucci, and he's speaking to Hodgie.
Well, Danilo, we did the track guide, me and you, on Thursday. It was wet. We thought it was going to be wet all weekend, but no, it's arrived now. You've not ridden this bike in the wet. What's going through your mind? Because normally we see you strong in these conditions, but this is going to be very difficult.
Yeah, for sure. But let's say, I'm so grateful that I'm here, that whatever condition, I'm really happy to ride. Yesterday, I was happy about my pace. It's for me was more tough to do a good flying lap, but then yeah, now we'll see on under the rain how it will be. For sure, you know, you win races on the wet if you finish the race, and it's tough because I think also more rain is coming, but yeah, we are ready. We are happy.
And just quickly, we know obviously you rode the Ducati, the KTM. How different does it feel when you're on the Suzuki? Is it like you thought it would be?
Yeah. Even if for sure when you jump on a Motogp bike like this, you arrive after many kilometers of testing, and our first test was in FP1. And but the bike, I thought I could have been slower, and I was surprised about the let's say how this bike is easy to ride. For sure now I'm let's say 1 second and a half off the pace from the lead, and it's not good. It's not so easy to remove that second, but it's all right.
We know that. Good luck, mate.
Yeah, lovely to hear from Danilo Petrucci. In for the injured Joan Mir, who is hoping to be back in Australia in 2 weeks' time. Not easy, is it, Michael, jumping from different bikes and coming in for this race? But what a year Danilo's had, as from the Dakar to Moto E on a superbike, and then to jump on a new Suzuki bike.
Completely unique. No one's done anything like it in one season. To start the Dakar, ride the big KTM in the deserts and win a stage there. He performed so well, so strong. He is a really quality off-road rider. Then go and approach the AMA superbike, the unique circuits over there, ride what was a new bike to him, although he spent a lot of time with Ducati in the past, getting used to the V4, the Panigale over there, and fighting for the title all the way to the last round. Now getting to experience MotoGP again, first time with Suzuki, first time on an inline 4, and he's been so close. As he said, that last 1 second is what requires all the work. You know that better than anyone, Sylvain. It's so hard to dig out those last few tenths.
Yeah, the bike, like you said, it was nice of him to say that. What he was surprised with is how easy the bike is, and it is. The Suzuki is a great, like, say, balanced package. But the likes of Alex Rins and the likes of the other guys on that grid, they just able, because they've got that race freedom and because they're so talented, they make that difference. And that second and a half, that last second and a half, it's so hard to go and get. Also, an interesting thing that Danilo said is he struggled to put a really fast lap, in qualifying. And this is such a difficult exercise. These guys on that grid, they're just able to put that soft free, and we take it for granted. They go like a second or second and a half faster with a time attack. It is so hard to do. You have to take so many risks, but it has to be also so controlled, and you have to apply yourself so much. It's extremely competitive in this championship. Danilo is coming back. He's a very talented rider with lots of experience, but it's not easy.
On the other half of that garage, Alex Rins, who's going from the 4th row today. What do you think he will be thinking looking out on the circuit?
Alex was actually, I spoke to him yesterday, and he was really confident about his pace, and he said he felt really good, and he felt like with the high temperatures that the race rhythm was going to drop a little bit, and he felt very confident. With these conditions, Alex can make a big difference as well. He's very talented, and he's got that riding style where he uses the front end of the bike in a very good way. The bike gives a lot of feedback from the front as well, so I think Alex will be relishing those conditions. He'll be looking forward to it.
One rider that we've seen win races in the wet conditions, and he was a winner last time out in Japan as well, is Jack Miller, and he's speaking to Hodgie.
Well, Jack, I was going to say it's starting to look better, but it's not. You're pretty experienced in these conditions. What's it feel like now? Because you look so fast this weekend in the dry.
Yeah, I felt good in the dry, but I'll throw a little spanner in the works for everyone. I think, we're all in the same boat here, quite literally. We going into the unknown, I think we'll get 2 sort of sighting laps, and that's about it. So, no dramas.
What's the situation with tyres? Because obviously you choose a different compound. Would you go for the softest? So?
No, not here. It's kind of hot. Temperature's not an issue here. The track's sort of not too bad here. You're kind of on both sides of the tyre at all times, and you need that tyre to sort of stay, those grooves to sort of stay open for you. So I think the medium compound is going to be the ticket here. I'd like to think so. And, there's a lot of hard braking points as well. So that soft will be, as soon as the water sort of starts to dissipate, that soft will turn to butter.
Just lastly, getting married next weekend. There's been an issue. I've been checking my post. The invitation.
Yeah.
Where did
you're constantly moving and
where's my invitation?
You're more than welcome to come, Hodgie. So they better not bloody postpone it to tomorrow, otherwise I'll be in strife.
We don't want you in strife, Jack. Good luck, my friend.
Cheers, mate. Thank you.
Yeah, if he does get in trouble, then his missus definitely will be after him as well. Race is delayed then due to the weather conditions. That's what Race Direction has said, as well as we wait to see what happens as well. 2 weeks' time, we're in Australia. We could be facing the same thing again with the weather down there. Malaysia's in 3 weeks' time as well, and that's always something to look forward to. The rain is coming down. It's literally like someone has just turned the shower head on and put it all over the circuit as well. It is constant pressure. It's not even letting up. The droplets are about the size of somebody's fist as well, punching the ground and bouncing back up as well. Then we're going to be hearing from Suzuki in a second as well, as Hodgson's got somebody else. But there's Miller and Bagnaya's numbers on the grid to stand in positions as well. Down to Yamaha then with Neil Hodgson once again. Down with... He's got Mayo Guy with him.
That's right. Mayo, obviously we can see a lot of discussions going on with some of the officials from IRTA. What's the latest?
Yeah, now when they will declare the track safety, they will inform us 5 minutes before the pit lane open. And then the timing we will stay on the grid will be shorter. More or less after 3 minutes, they will, before the 5 minutes board, will be display. It means that we can stay on the grid 10 minutes, and that's it. Basically, they try to do the race, and it's just I don't want to say funny, because when we are here, we expect all the session wet, and we had all the session dry. Now we have 10 minutes pit lane open to try to do a couple of laps to get the feeling. That's are the circumstances you never want to have, but we have to deal with them.
And just quickly, obviously, it looked like it was going to be a tough race for Fabio, but I think he would have had a decent pace. Now, what's your feeling and what's Fabio saying? Is he quite positive about this? Obviously the rain.
Yeah, it is. It is because, especially this year, we improve a lot on the wet. But my main concern is, will this grip be good? Because in Indonesia it was very good and we could get a really good performance. But it's really depending on the grip. If the grip won't be any good for us, it will be a drama.
Let's hope there is a lot of grip. Good luck, Mayo.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Down to you now.
What do you make of what Mayo was saying there, Michael?
That's the problem when you've got no information to pull from throughout the weekend. You're going out, your sight and lap is the only telltale you have, trying to figure out how much the water affects these Michelin tyres. They usually do provide good grip, but it is the surface that is the determinant factor. So Motogp was one level of grip, and this week's a complete other one, and they've got no information so far this weekend.
Well, you can see there, just while we wait, we have, if you've missed it this weekend, the few announcements with team confirmations, but also a bit of a delay to the announcement, but finally confirmed a provisional calendar for 2023, and a couple of new races on there, including Indonesia and Kazakhstan. 21 races. We start a little bit later in the year, at the end of March, and we finish later as well, finishing in Valencia, as we normally do, but later on in November. It's a very busy schedule for all concerned, Sylvain. What do you make of the additions? India, I think by all accounts, the riders are really looking forward to that one.
Yeah, the tracks actually look really good, so I think we're looking forward to these two new venues. The riders will and the teams will be concerned though about going to Valencia on the 26th of November. This is going to be so cold. And Valencia turn 4.
Yeah.
I might claim a few fairings in the gravel there, but yeah, it's a busy calendar. 3 triple headers, and the ride is going to be very demanding, for all the riders and the teams.
And not just that, because we've got the sprint races as well on the Saturday from next year.
Ooh, wow, look at that.
Wow.
Yeah, we're just seeing some TV pictures out there at the moment, and the BMW is going around on the circuit. And then offline, the amount of spray that BMW M5 is kicking up it's just too much water as well. And literally, it is being kicked up and just a massive spray. Back to the conversation about the calendar.
Reaction there from Marco, the eyes wide open at the thought of going out in that. And obviously, safety is paramount here, Michael.
Yeah, always. We saw in Moto2 how much when the rain was standing on the track, the bikes began to aquaplane. So you don't want that happening, especially down into turn 3 when they tried to restart the Moto2 race again. It was just a lake. It was impossible. So a little bit of a delay here. The rain has calmed down a little bit. So if you get a window and the track does seem to clear pretty quickly, we will get the quick start that Mayo explained. So not quite a quick restart procedure, but it will be a short grid process.
Just going back to what we were discussing with the calendar, obviously next year we've got the sprint races. It's going to be a really full-on 2023, isn't it, Michael? And as a team manager, how are you seeing next year?
Yeah, it's going to be busy for everyone, but thinking of the MotoGP riders, this season they'll have raced 20 times, next season 42 on the cards, although the short race won't take the same physical conditioning, but it will still be tough on them. And yeah, I think the 7 races in the 10 weeks, that's the real busy period with the long hauls, the freight, all these extra stresses. It's going to be tough. There's been a lot of joking about the paddock of divorce papers in the post and whatnot, so yeah. We might need to have the Formula 1 scenario where we have 2 different teams, one that works in Europe, one that works in long hauls. But no, I think it'll be good for the series as a whole, taking the championship to new venues, to the India race is a very important market for this sport, especially. So the motorcycle world in India is massive. They ride bikes for a daily transport. It is a big series over there, so it'll be good to introduce MotoGP to the Indian fans.
Yeah, getting out there to new fans, as you're saying. We start in Europe, which is unusual, I suppose. We've not had that before. We start in Portugal before we go to Argentina and America. You can see the fans are still here in great spirits. You could hear them cheering not so long ago. They're sticking around because they've waited 3 years for this. We've not had a race here since 2019, of course, because of COVID.
Is the rain stopped?
After a 3-year wait, and they're not about to go anywhere now. They want to see some action on track. track, don't we, Silvan?
Yeah, and there's a lot of Fabio fans actually. We've coming in the track, you know, every morning you can see he's got his own tribunes. Yamaha's got their own tribune as well. Massive fan base here, and they just love motorbike. You look, you can see it there, the grandstand. I mean, he's been chucking it down, and he's still there. They're still there. They're waiting, and they love it. Really a shame that Chantra couldn't finish the race in Moto 2. But they want to see the show, and there's a lot of fun for Fabio out there, and it's great to see. You know, when you go to new venues like this, I mean, here it's pretty new. We only raced here two times. You see, you know, a lot of new fans and a lot of new interests like growing in the region.
Well, I'm sure one person who's been fairly calm and relaxed about the whole scenario is Cal Crutchlow. He goes from the 5th row of the grid today, had a solid weekend, even riding through the pain barrier, the fracture in his ankle. He's speaking to Hodgie.
Well, Cal, what's it feel like right now? I mean, you've had a stunning weekend apart from cracking your ankle, but difficult conditions. Everybody looks a bit edgy. You've nothing to lose. How are we feeling?
Well, I have everything to lose because this is exactly why I retired. Razlan just said to me, why did you retire? Everything's going well. I said, these reasons. You know, it's bad water, that is. With our bikes, you know, nearly 300 horsepower in the straight here is going to be bad. And being able to see is going to be really bad. Look, they're trying to get the water off the side of the track. So, yeah, it's a strange situation at the moment. But they're better off to keep delaying it, to be honest, if we can, light permitting. Yeah, but I feel okay. I felt good all weekend. I was really good this morning. I felt with a really used tyre, so you know, for the dry, I was really set for what I thought would have been a good race. But now this has thrown a curveball because we haven't had one wet session all weekend. Obviously, we did in Motogp, but it's a completely different story. Setting up these bikes not easy with the electronics and all the things with the bikes, the devices, where we compress them, where we can't in the rain, and but we'll see. Same for everyone.
Yeah, there's a lot going on. Apart from last week, though, have you had much time on the wet, on the Yamaha?
Well, in 2 years, I've had 2 days. So that was Motogp, and then I had one test in Aragon once. But it was like this. So me and Danny Pedrosa at the time, we did about 10 laps and we couldn't ride. Couldn't even open the throttle in the straight. It was that deep in the water. So yeah, no real experience. The bike is actually quite good in the rain. When you release the brake, the bike turns really well in the rain. But the braking and accelerating is where we struggle. So we'll see. Maybe today will be a different story.
More importantly, how was the golf? Sam said you're yet to break 100, which I thought that sounded quite harsh. Said he smoked you the other day.
Yeah, but you know, I don't want to say.
No comment.
He didn't. We drew the other day. We played this little 9-hole course here. It was on a military base, and it was this deep in water, exactly like this. It was fantastic fun. But yeah, the golf's going good.
That's the main thing. Good luck, my friend.
Cheers.
Well, it's always nice to hear from Cal Crutchlow out there as well, and slightly is worried that is why he did actually retire. We're just looking, and the safety car spun! The safety car has spun! Wow! The safety car's spinning, and if the safety car's having trouble, which is a 4x4, it's literally it's a hatchback estate car, and if that is having trouble putting the power down, then 3,000 horsepower brake power, this is not going to work out. So I do not see this MotoGP race starting for a very, very, very long time at the moment. SHT says, oh, well, traditionally, safety cars spin in wet conditions. Yeah. Safety. It's okay, actually, in the third sector. That's the problem. It's sectors 1 and 2 that are the biggest problem. Sector 3 is okay, and then sector 4 is a little bit of an iffy one at the moment as well. But sector 3 is good. Turn 1, let's take a look what it's like then as well under braking. Now, turn 1 was okay at the start line, but as soon as we got past the first corner, yeah, down the back straight on the run towards, you can see on the straight there, turn 1 is just down at the bottom there, and then the long straight to the hairpin turn 3. That's where the water was kicked up in Moto 2 as well, and that's exactly where it's being kicked up here as well. And then the braking for turn 3, the fastest part of the track, with such a heavy hairpin as well. The safety car is absolutely struggling to even make the apex, and it's sliding again at the rear, having to fight the controls. So If the safety car can't even make it, the bikes definitely can't. So we're in a red flag situation. The race hasn't even started yet after the cancellation of the Moto2 race. After that was red flagged after 8 laps. So this could take a while. SHT, hello to Synthol says, hello, in a drive for the F1 winner. I did reply saying it's damp maybe, but there is a heavy rain forecast that keeps moving that way. So it could still be wet. F1 Spa 2021 vibe, says SHT. Yep. But they can't. We haven't got a safety car at least in Motogp. So in terms of the fact that the safety car will be released into the field, like in Formula 1, the safety car here is only used for recovering riders from the side of the track as well. Joan Zarco, second row. Guess who he's with? Down to you, Neil.
Joanne, incredibly fast all weekend, looking really strong in dry conditions. Unfortunately, it's completely different now. How are you feeling?
Just waiting. I know this condition can be competitive. Clearly, we don't know really the amount of water we will have on the track. And it seems there is still a big cloud coming, so we will have to wait. Even if they say pit lane open, then the big rain will come again, as they did in Moto2. So we have to wait. But I think if this big cloud passed, then it won't rain anymore, but it will be wet, getting dry. Maybe this can be the best condition for me. So I hope for this kind of race that get less water every lap, and then you get more confident and you can go fast.
Make it a bit easier. Have you got a wet setting that you just go straight to?
Fortunately, we got a good rain session in Japan. So that's the base of the rain setting. And even if the track is different, almost the rain setting is you do it when you change the tire. Doesn't matter the track, just you put the rain tires, you know you have the rain setting.
Good luck, Joan.
Merci.
Joan has sounded happy pretty much all weekend ahead of this race here at the Chang International Circuit. Directly behind Joan Zarco is Marc Marquez, P8, just shaking out the shoulder there. But physically, he's felt really good by all accounts. Lots of positive noises coming from Marc Marquez this weekend.
Yeah, he's feeling better and better. You know, when we saw him coming back, he couldn't really string laps together, and he was struggling. In Motogp, he actually did a really strong race, and it's one of the most physical tracks of the calendar. So Marc is fit, and I think in the rain, with the rain conditions, you know, you get a lot less load, and the physical condition becomes less, let's say, less important. It's still tiring, but there's less forces going through in the braking zones, and you can manage that a little bit better. So for sure, this physical condition will not be a problem if it's fully wet.
Yeah, when he first came back, he spoke about perhaps, look, I may not be able to complete a full weekend. I may have to take Japan off, but each round, Michael, he's got stronger and stronger, and he's felt better, and he's able to push with every lap now, which he's not been able to do previously.
Yeah, he was definitely approaching it with a cautious mindset, but watching him in Motogp, got faster throughout the race, was fighting, making overtakes, diving as hard as anyone on the brakes in those latter laps, and that's one of the most physical tracks on the calendar. So I think he's close to race fitness. Maybe strength lacking a little bit, bike setup lacking a little bit, but today, in these conditions, a massive leveler. He did say to you, Nat, that he didn't think a win was on the cards, but I think one might be today.
Yeah, he played it down, didn't he, when I asked him earlier this week whether he could even think about winning a race before the end of this year. He said, no, that's too far. He's got a lot of love for the Thailand circuit, hasn't he? He's the only one to win it. Won both races here previously, both in dry conditions, but as I say, we know how well he is and how strong he goes in the wet weather conditions. And actually, we spoke about it yesterday, just how relaxed he seems at the moment, playing with the crowd, playing with the cameras.
He's enjoying himself.
Listen to the cheer! Wow!
Yeah, massive support here. You know, this is great to see. Obviously, winning the only 2 MotoGP races here, and 100% agree with Michael. You know, on the dry, I don't think he could have won. You know, there was people out there with much better paces, but in the wet, given his physical form and the way he can adapt to changing conditions, definitely a client for the podium and maybe for the victory.
Well, as you can see, the crowd have been in great spirits as they wait to see the MotoGP race here, round 17. We're going to take a short pause then as we observe the national anthem of Thailand.
เอกราชจะไม่ให้ใครคมขีสละเลือดทุกหยาดเป็นชาติผลิตท่านเลิศชัยโย
A wonderful, wonderful national anthem, and a round of applause from everyone. Does that mean we're getting the schedule back on track? Well, it stopped raining at the moment. Track is beginning to dry. Fingers crossed we might go racing soon. Back to Natalie.
Thailand, two of the most supported races over the years, and they will stay out there, rain or shine. It has stopped raining in the paddock. There's a lot of dark clouds still around the circuit. Doesn't feel as humid either, does it, Sylvain?
No, it's getting a bit brighter, but you never know. So this is the window now. They need to not wait too much now and send the bikes out as soon as the track is rideable. They need to send them out and try and get those 2 warm-up laps in and get the race underway.
Yeah, the riders still in good spirits as they wait for their next instruction. As you can see, race delay due to the weather conditions, pretty much monsoon conditions earlier on if you missed it. So we've got this delay to the Motogp race. You mentioned, Michael, that you thought maybe further back in the grid, maybe Miguel Oliveira may have a chance. And we saw what he did, of course, in Indonesia, where we had similar conditions, didn't we?
And again in Motegi, the wet practice there, he looked really strong and comfortable. So KTM, as Johan Zarco just told us, they obviously have a good wet weather setting that they don't change track to track. So I think the KTM boys will be strong. There will be a few heading out. We get this 10-minute window when the green lights go on. So you could squeeze in 3 laps to try and evaluate something. You can just ride back down through pit lane if you want to come down and do more laps. So try and figure things out. Get a little bit of a feeling for the conditions for the grip, and because you need to take advantage in the early laps.
Well, we've spoken a little bit about Suzuki, and we mentioned, of course, that Joan Mir not here this weekend, was hoping to be here, but still struggling with injuries, hoping to be back in Australia. And so Frankie Carcetti, who is crew chief for Joan Mir, he's got a new rider in the box this weekend. He's with Danilo Petrucci, and he's speaking to Hodgie.
Frankie Carcetti, obviously you've got a lot of experience in these conditions. What I'm talking about is bike setup change. It's been dry all weekend, obviously it's wet now. Talk us through, obviously sometimes me and Sylvain, maybe not so much Michael, make it up what you would do to the bike, but you tell us exactly the changes you'd make.
Well, to start with, we were doing quite a bit till we got a wet setup. Then we found something where we can just put it exactly to Joanne's normal wet setup. So the general stuff, like we go a lot softer front springs, rear springs. We change the damping, both the front and the rear. Steering damper, people forget about that. Initially, we actually used a different swing arm because there's different grip levels. Link, you can use, you've got progressive, flat, digressive. I can't say which one, but we use a specific type to gain as much grip as possible. The difference is that we have to do something different because Danilo's never ridden in the wet. So what we've tried to do, the offset in the dry, we've put in the wet. So fingers crossed. We've got a couple of laps to test it, and let's see.
And historically, is Suzuki a good bike in the wet?
I think the last 6-7 sessions, Joanne's been first or second with Jack. So it works. But like I said, when it works for one rider, it doesn't quite necessarily mean, you know what it's like, everyone has their own particular setting. I've never worked with Danilo in the wet, so I'll find out in about an hour.
Well, yeah, fingers crossed. Thanks for talking to us, Frankie.
Cheers, mate.
Yeah, Frankie, just explaining that. There's a lot of work involved, isn't there, Sylvain? A lot of things to consider.
Yeah, a lot going on. Well, you've got very different level of grip, so you have to adapt the bike to try and get that grip, fit it to the tires as well, and then from track to track as well, there's different grips. So most of the time, if you've got the time doing sessions or throughout the weekend, if you get a few wet sessions, you can adapt your setup as well. Most riders and crew chief and teams out there, they would have though a base, just like Johan Zarco was explaining. there's a base setup that they normally run and they like, so as soon as it's wet, they put it in and they start from there. They do that in the dry as well. They don't change the bike completely from track to track. But yeah, from dry to wet, big differences with the suspensions, and like Frankie was explaining, the links, and he didn't talk about the swing arm length, but we changed that as well to just try and generate a little bit more grip.
Yeah, important with how the relationship between crew chief and rider as well, and whether there's a difference of opinion. You've got to work together, haven't you, Michael?
Yeah, definitely. It's something, as Frankie said, they work towards their wet weather setup. So once they've got it dialed, then obviously the communication now for Frankie is a bit difficult today, because it's the first time he will be experiencing Danilo's feedback of what he likes from the bike. He'll probably stick in close to what Joan Mir's always like, because they've got a reference from it, but it just means Danilo won't quite have exactly a reference point to pull from.
Well, you can see an update there on your screens. We have got a time now for when pit lane is going to be opening in around 7 minutes time. But while we wait for that, let's see who else Hodgie has caught up with. I think he's with Paolo Giabatti.
Paolo, when I interview you, look over there, the sun is starting to shine, always. Paolo Giabatti, what's the mood in the Ducati garage right now? Because it looked like you're going to have a good day. It still is possible, but this changes a lot, doesn't it, the weather?
Yeah, sure, it changes a lot. Obviously, in dry conditions, we were very confident. Like this, it's complicated for everyone. As you know, there was a lot of rain, but here now the sun seems to be out, so it could dry on certain, at least in certain section of a circuit pretty easily, so which makes the race a little bit of a gamble. I think it's going to be interesting, but obviously we would have preferred to be in dry conditions.
What's Pecco saying? Obviously, you'll have spoke to him already about these conditions. What's your advice to him on Davide's? What do you say?
Well, as I said, difficult to say, honestly. Just go out and do the best, which is obvious, and try not to take any risk, especially in the first laps, because let's see. I mean, as I said, if the sun is out, I think it could be that some areas will be dry, and then let's see if riders can do the whole race with rain tires or not, which adds some uncertainty to the whole situation. Obviously, not ideal when you're fighting for a championship, but well, we'll do the best we can.
Good luck, Paolo.
Thank you.
Well, the sun has started to shine and the riders are starting to warm up, including Marc Marquez doing his press-ups there. He said coming into this week, anywhere between 5th and 10th place, he'll be happy with. Maybe he's readjusting that assessment.
Oh, he's going to readjust that. He's readjusted already, I think. With those conditions, he's definitely on, you know, for a great result, and he knows it. I think he's quite happy. You can see, you know, you could see earlier on he was playing with the crowd, quite relaxed, and just doing a little bit of warm-up there, a few press-ups. So, you know, when you do press-ups like that, the arm is not hurting too much.
Jack Miller doing his pre-race stretches there, as they all will be doing as they prepare. It's been a pretty long wait, and trying to get in the zone, the race day zone, will have been difficult, Michael.
Yeah, most of these guys will have done this warm-up maybe 30-40 minutes ago before they put their race leathers on. That's why they're warming up the muscles again, even getting your mind back into the zone. So we're going to get the pit lane will open in 5 minutes, so it means you've got to get ready to go. You've got to go out there, understand the conditions, see how much standing water there is, get ready, get into the mindset to go racing, because these delays, they do affect you a little bit. Some deal with it better than others.
Well, you can see that the grid is being prepared. What's going to happen here, Michael? Just explain, because it's going to be a 10 minutes and they're going to have a look at the track, but there'll be certain areas that they won't see.
Yeah, unfortunately, you won't see the last corner and you won't see turn 1, so you will have to ride down pit lane if you want to do more than one lap. It just is a 10-minute open pit lane. The green light goes on, you can go out and you could squeeze in 3 laps, but you have to ride down pit lane on the speed limiter. So it just means the last corner and the first corner you don't get any experience of it, but you will understand turn 3, which was the standing water place, as it was turn 4 and 5. So the riders will get a good look at things and understand what grip's available out there.
Well, apologies for the delay, but as you can see, you can understand exactly why. Thank you for staying with us. It is early in the morning back in the UK, but as you can see, the time is now ticking down. We have some movement, and fingers crossed we're going to have a Motogp race here in Thailand. We're going to take a breather. We'll be back shortly.
Karen Ash 6-Wheel Insurance sponsors Motogp on BT Sport.
He has creamed that.
Some say I was born to win, but in the race of life I have no choice, because if I win, the cage birds sing with all of us who have no voice. I raised myself from the bottom, now my name is in bright shining lights. To secure the win, I have to be secure in this skin.
So all of the action continuing on then here as we're back with you live. Sorry for that. I was just setting up W Series, which is always great situations as well. Anyway, we are all set then for what is going to be a very, very entertaining race as well. Fingers crossed that it's going to be hopefully a good race. W Series is about to start shortly, so the red flag can now get rescinded. I'm solo commentating. That should be quite interesting. With the delay in the scheduled start time for Motogp, W Series is starting exactly the same time. So it's me on my own, I'm afraid, for Motogp. Hopefully you don't mind that too much as well. But I will do my best, and we'll also be hearing as well from our co-commentary team as well, from BT Sport, in the form of the two Neil Hodgson and the one and only Gavin Emmett as well. We shall hear throughout the broadcast, if I can find all my equipment, which seems to have disappeared everywhere. Isn't that always the way? You go after one thing and everything disappears. We'll be back then with BT Sport and hand you temporarily, as I find what I need, over back to Nat.
Welcome back. You are watching the MotoGP race, or we hope we're going to be watching a MotoGP race very shortly. We've had a long delay here in Buriram in Thailand. We're up to round 17, but we have been affected by the wet weather conditions as we thought we would, although it's been a bit of a delay, really. We thought we were going to get it all weekend. It was heavy rain when we arrived here earlier this week, but then the MotoGP riders really have had the best of the weather. Real dry track time. And this is the worst that they've had it. We had a delay to Moto 2, and that race was cut short. That was just 8 laps. And we've had a delay to this. And we're going to have, it's going to be reduced by 1 lap as well, this MotoGP race. It will now be 25 laps. Riders getting ready to go out. The grid is being formed as we speak, and pit lane is about to open. They've had a long wait, haven't they, Sylvan, as we all have?
Yeah, it's a long way, and you know, it's easy for the riders to like drift out of concentration as well, because you're just waiting there for the conditions, and there's nothing really much to do in the box. So normally you get ready, you get warmed up, you get in the box, and then you're straight out, and you're just in race mode. With that weight, you just have to refocus as well, and certain riders are able to do that really naturally. Others need to really put like a big effort to it. Now we're restarting. They have to get straight on the money here, because they've had no practice at all in the wet. It's going to be really important. The start of the race can make a big difference. We might see them coming past the pit lane again to be able to do more than 1 lap. But right now they're going out on track with very little experience.
Yeah, we're really going to see what conditions are like now, aren't we, Michael? This rain has been on and off, really heavy at times, and then just as the sun started to poke out, it started to rain again. It's just been really inconsistent today.
And it's still drizzling a little bit as the riders head out for this 10-minute practice. It's not going to be easy, but I guess the safety car's been around. They understand the standing water isn't too bad, which means it's safe. As long as it's safe to run, the riders will figure out where the grip is. They'll manage it quite well. The Michelin tyres do a great job of clearing the water, and they'll have the electronics to tame the power a little bit. The lowering devices, as Cal was saying, it does actually provide a little bit more grip in a straight line as well. So yeah, fingers crossed they'll be able to find the traction they need to push on here.
I imagine when they come back as well, there'll be discussions with the crew chief and team managers, won't they?
Yeah, always. It's a scenario when you're on the grid. What do you change in that period of time? Have you been able to feel enough to make those decisive changes? Then choosing what visor you're going to run, whether you're going to run tear-offs, whether you're going to use the launch device, which way you're going to start this, way you're going to approach the race if you get into turn 1 in front, or whether you have to fight a way through the field. So there's a lot going on in the riders' minds and crew chief's psyche right now.
What are your thoughts from what you've seen so far, Sylvan? What are your thoughts on what you've seen so far of the track and the surface?
Yeah, it actually looks all right. You know, it is much better than what...
Is that because you like the wet conditions?
Yeah, no, if I was coming out on a wet track like that, I would think, yeah, that's fine, that's okay. There's a lot less water than there was in Moto 2, so for them it's a great chance to evaluate the the grip levels. They've got a choice of 2 front tires and 2 rear tires, soft or medium. They're going to be considering that as well, because if the grip is super low, you want to go for the soft. But if the grip is quite good straight out the box, you definitely want to go for the harder ones. The harder tire will give more endurance, and if it doesn't rain tons in between, you know, the start and the end of the race, they'll give a lot more support, especially from the front tire. That medium front will give a lot more support in the braking zone. It's a very hard braking track here. So yeah, we see them all now. So what they're doing now, they're coming back into the pit lane. They're going to pass through the pit lane because the pit lane is still open for 7 minutes and a bit. And they're going to be able to do another lap. Some riders might do that twice. And this allows them to run the tires in a little bit better, get a better feel, get a really good understanding of where the big puddles are, not to aquaplane, not to start the bike spinning. And this is all experience that they really need that, because they've had 0 track time in the wet.
Yeah, that's the important thing, isn't it? They've had the most dry track time of all the classes, haven't they, Michael? This is the first full wet weather experience here in Thailand. A couple of the riders coming into the race saying just how crazy the opening couple of laps were going to be, and that was in the dry conditions. Equally, the opening couple of laps here, if anything can happen.
Yeah, and when you're dealing with the spray as well, so visibility is an issue. Fast straight down towards turn 3, you have so much spray, picking out your braking marker, seeing where everyone's going to spread out in the braking zone. You have to be careful. If you're admired in the pack, you don't want to be taking any big risk, because you could be the bowling ball taking all your rivals down. So yeah, interesting to see everyone doing a lap. No one's stopping at their pit box to make any changes. They are literally sussing out these conditions.
A reminder of how the riders line up on the grid in the MotoGP race. It's Marco Bezzecchi on pole position. He's first in the Premier class and first for VR46. A fantastic lap yesterday. I think it surprised even himself, but what a day it was for the VR46 team yesterday. And really it was dominated by the Ducatis. Jorge Martin second on the grid and Pecco Bagnaia in third. We mentioned it to Davide Tardozzi, and I know that the VR46 team have spoken about it. Could Marco Bezzecchi help Pecco Bagnaia in this situation?
I don't think so. I think in the wet like this, it's really everyone for themselves. It's you know, it'd be maybe at the end of the race, or obviously they're not gonna pull some crazy moves on Pecco, hopefully. But I think, you know, with the VR46 side, because you know they got that crew, Pecco and Bezzecchi and Marini. The other Ducati boys, though, I don't think they're going to mind too much. I think they're going to go for it. Jorge Martinez fired up. Joan Zarco, he'll be thinking of his first win. Can you believe Joan Zarco's never won a race, a MotoGP race? Yeah, going for it already.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Joan Zarco will see this as a massive opportunity, and we might see a backflip today. How good would that be?
That would be sensational. We've been waiting for it for so long. We'd love to see a Joan Zarco backflip. What do you think his chances are, Michael?
Honestly, I agree with Sylvain. I think he's been looking good all weekend. He's always been a good wet weather rider. He manages the tyres well. We heard from him when he was talking to Hodgie that he prefers it when the rain isn't falling, so the track conditions get better lap on lap. You build your confidence. So he's praying that this rain completely stops, because there's still a lot of standing water there, and the track will get grippier every single circuit. But 25 laps is a long way around here, so the other factor is, do you go with a hard, we heard from Jack Miller, the hard front's probably the best one in case there is a little bit of a dry line, but do you risk the soft and make a gap early on?
In case you missed all the headlines coming into this weekend, it really has been a terrible weekend for the Aprilia riders. We saw Aleix there, and just not getting the grip. The bike was going, he was saying, sideways more than forwards. Just not having the pace, and not just him, but Maverick as well.
Yeah, that rear tyre, that slick rear tyre family that didn't suit the Aprilia, didn't suit them in Austria, didn't suit them here. It's the only 2 races where they brought, no, actually they brought them in Mandalika as well at the second round of the championship, and it just suit that bike. They haven't got it offers basically a little bit less grip, and it offers a little bit more heat resistance, and this is why those tyres were brought here. But for Aprilia, somehow, it seems like they don't work as well as the other manufacturers, so they're struggling to stop the bike. So for them, the rain is actually a leveler. I don't think Aleix is not really a specialist in the wet, but Maverick, in the early days of MotoGP, he was really struggling in the wet, but then towards the end, with the Yamaha, he was actually quite good, so you never know, you could see a surprise from Maverick as well.
Frankie Morbidelli has had a better weekend, hasn't he, Michael? He's going from the 5th row of the grid, middle of the 5th row, but overall he's had a better weekend, hasn't he?
Yeah, probably the most promising weekend of the season for Frankie. So he's found something. He's worked together with Fabio throughout FP1, following each other, understanding where the strengths are. And I think for me, all 4 Yamahas are a little bit stronger here this weekend. So I think the track in general suits their inline 4 machine. And yeah, Frankie can go good in the wet too. So we'll be looking for a strong result. It's been a little bit of a while, a bit of a lull for Frankie in terms of results.
Marco Bezzecchi, the 10th pole sitter this season, the second rookie to do it in 1 year. Looks like Johan is going to take another lap maybe, but I wonder how Marco is feeling right now, because he's been on the front row before, not on pole position, but been at the front before, and he'll draw on that experience, won't he?
Yeah, I think he's going to be feeling quite good. I remember the first test this year in Sepang. It rained, and it was his first time in the wet. He was actually really quick. He adapted really quickly and seemed to understand the grip level really fast. So I don't think I'll mind too much. You know, he's still a very experienced rider, and obviously he's in the best position to start. So the problem is we've been mentioning everybody. You know, everybody could come out and do the surprise, because again, those conditions, there's zero info, so you could make such a big difference just by taking a lot of risk.
Yeah, predictions, expectations, they've all gone right out of the window, and we've just heard quite a big rumble of thunder overhead here at Buriram. And those dark clouds not going away, are they, Michael?
No, they're still looming. The ones that came earlier did come from turn 3. Behind us here at turn 12, there's definitely some dodgy-looking clouds. So look, a few discussions going on in the grid here.
I mean, I wish we could hear what they were saying, but deep in conversation, the riders there obviously making their feelings felt. And you would say Aleix Espargaro, he's always very vocal, very outspoken about what his feelings are.
Some of them would not want to race. If I was Aleix now, in the position I'm in, I would not want to race. So I would try and get the riders together to say that it's too dangerous to race, or there's too much water. Yeah. Maybe that's what he's trying to do there. The riders normally, when it's not a clear cut, they always get a say. You know, Dorna is really good with that. Everybody listens to the rider. They want to make sure that everybody's comfortable with going, or at least the majority of the riders are comfortable with going in certain conditions. So yeah, the riders will be talking about those conditions just to make sure that everybody's on the same page.
Yeah, does there have to be a certain percentage of riders, Michael, to be saying we're not happy to go out in this?
In a way, Aleix sometimes nominates himself as a spokesperson because he's the most experienced rider in the grid, the elder statesman. So he'll go and speak to all his rivals, and if he gets a majority kind of feeling from it, he'll go to the head of the grid and have discussions with Erda, with the Dorna, and try and make a plan. Because the thunder, the lightning, I did see a flash before that big rumble, it is a worry for the riders and the potential for more rain. So you can see ongoing discussions here with Aleix. So
he's saying, it looks like he's saying to Loris Caprios here that there is rivers, and it looks like he's saying, you know, those what we call rivers is that like a stream of water crossing the track in like a 90-degree angle, and that's very dangerous because you come from somewhere where you got traction, and then suddenly you go through that little bit like deeper layer of water, and you could initiate a spin or an aquaplaning.
He doesn't look happy at all, does he, Aleix? Very animated there in discussions. And we're getting another update. Obviously, the race declared wet, but the pit lane has been closed. I mean, should we have a cancellation, Michael? It has implications, doesn't it?
Yeah, not yet. In my opinion, not yet. Just from what we've seen in those second laps, it looked okay. So Aleix has to be careful because he doesn't like the conditions. So if he's the one who's shouting loudest, they'll think it's from a selfish nature because he's keeping his championship hopes alive. So they'll go and have a word with Fabio. They'll speak to Zarco. They'll speak to riders who do want to race. Marc Marquez will want to race for sure. They'll get an understanding if it is unanimous or if it is just a minority.
Well, you can see there Loris Capirossi getting the thoughts of the riders on the grid as we prepare for this MotoGP race. For now, then, thank you for the thoughts of Michael and to Sylvain. I'm going to hand you to our commentary team. Here's Gavin and Neil.
Thank you very much, Natalie. Well done to all of you out there in horrible conditions, trying to fill the time before we
possibly get a MotoGP race. Myself and Neil are sat in the dry here. We can hear the rumbles of thunder around the racetrack, and they were big ones, I tell you. There may well be more rain in the post. But we were also enjoying the machinations that are going on down on the grid, Neil. Fabio Quartararo's fans, they want to see him race. And it looked like Fabio was a bit in the middle. He's, fairly happy to go ahead with things. But there's certainty about one thing. Aleix Espargaro does not want to race.
Yeah, the body language, that's absolutely clear. I wonder if they'll set them off as a group.
Yeah, that's going to be interesting to see. Right, hello everybody. I'm back in the commentary box after setting W Series up as well. So, we have race declared wet. Riders are allowed to swap bikes at any moment. So, we do have an official flag-to-flag race. What we are going to see in this one, I have no idea as well. Race declared wet. Riders allowed to swap bikes. And I'm delighted that Megan and Ian Birch are getting the W Series underway. We, however, are just staying here as well. David Tardozzi hinting that the issue might be mid-pack visibility in the opening laps as well. Ducati 63, or Santa Claus, is already here, guys.
Basically, he'll be stressed because
he'll have aged.
Because last time he rode in these conditions, he was one of, if not the slowest man on the grid. So, yeah, it's not ideal for Pecco.
So the certain will fancy it. Jack Miller will be up for it. I'm certain of it. He says he's another rumble of thunder that goes around us. But yeah, he's trying to stay calm. Actually, like what we were saying down to you down there in pit lane, that just crack on with it. Basically, that's sort of your feeling you get with Jack. He's going to be like that. He's had decent wet weather. Of course, he won a mixed weather race back in Assen, his first Grand Prix win. And Marc Marquez, actually, of all the riders, has the best record in the wet. He's better in the dry, of course, but he has the best record in the wet. And then there are other wet specialists. Miguel Oliveira is the one that comes to mind more than anything.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, Miguel Oliveira has won races. Well, he won this year in the wet, actually. He has pulled some results out of nowhere on certain weekends just due to the weather. So we've got the list through. Actually, a good friend of ours, Dimitri, sends us some fantastic stats through. So thanks, Dimitri, if you're listening to this. Just give us the list of...
Well, it's just points per race in the dry. Miguel Oliveira, 5 average points in the dry. In the wet, 12.7. So it just shows. Actually, up there as well is Fabio Quartararo. He's about third in the list. It's Marquez, Oliveira, Quartararo, and then, believe it or not, Alex Marquez.
And I never thought that.
You know, Alex Marquez has been interesting this weekend. Some of his comments that he's been making to the press are basically, this is what I've got, we're just going to deal with it. This is it. This is the best I can get out of this package. Got no change.
Oh, that is beautiful work from Visser, getting right ahead.
Day like today, Alex Marquez, despite the rain, could shine.
Yeah, nothing to lose. It's the issue is from the 7th row, you'll have so much spray. We say about, well, you've got to take some risk. It is difficult when you're going into a wall of spray, but I'm sure once these bikes set off, we'll see exactly what that spray looks like. All I know is I've been with 200 brake horsepower in wet conditions. It's a handful. It feels scary. When it spins in a straight line, you are literally not in control. And add another 100 brake horsepower on top of that, and that's what these lads will be dealing with.
The leader of this championship made up points on Pecco Bagnaia for the first time in 6 last time out in Japan, when he took 8 points for the 8th place, and Pecco had a no score. Can he extend that lead? 18 points, the gap between himself and Bagnaia. 25 back to Aleix Espargaro. And Enea Bastianini in 4th in the championship, 49 behind this man. Enea not known as a wet weather rider, never really had great form in it, and that we've had another delay to the start, and it was to be expected.
Yep, start delayed. Start has been delayed once again for this 25-lap race. So we just keep end up in this same cycle. Race delayed due to safety conditions we've now got as the W Series race has continued on as well. So thanks to everyone staying with us, but you may as well open Megan and Ian Birch on the W Series race, because we have literally just got delay after delay after delay, and it's so hot I'm out of breath. Sorry I've been away for the last 10 minutes or so, just getting everything sorted with W Series, but you've been in the capable hands of BT Sport. I'm back with you now, up in the comms box as well. Pecco Bagnaia watching on, waiting to see exactly what's going to happen, and maybe the race won't start until after W Series is finished. Megan might just enjoy that a little bit more than she might let on.
Conditions, if it doesn't rain, if it stops completely.
Yes.
How long did it take to dry up this track on Friday when it rained twice?
I'd say 30 minutes. Within 30 minutes, a complete wet track. We were sort of joking about it, going, well, they'll be wet. This session will definitely be wet. And literally by 30 minutes, they're out on slicks. So that was for the Moto3 boys earlier on in the week, and that was on Friday.
And with a 25-lap race in these conditions, you're talking 45 minutes or more. So there is a possibility, if more rain falls, but the rumbles of thunder around us suggest that might well not be the case. Marc Marquez.
Yeah, start delayed, obviously. It's getting worse. Yeah.
Back in action and back on form, no doubt about it. Started the weekend so well. Faded a little bit yesterday. You wonder if that's down to his arm strength. Can I just give massive credit to the crowd that's here? 76,000 in. They are making the best.
They really are.
Horrible conditions.
They are so
And it's
patriotic.
like Beatlemania out there. When every time Marquez or Quartararo comes on the screen, there's screaming,
I think if
whooping.
If there's an award for the loudest crowd, it's not the biggest we've seen before. It's a decent, like I said, decent size. Was it 76,000? But they are definitely the loudest. They're absolutely loving it.
Well, that's great credit to them. 3 years away from here in Thailand. And we are back, I'm pleased to say.
Race control have given us a message.
Unfortunately, I don't know when we're going to be racing. The start has been delayed again. The riders are sat there with their helmets on, and in this situation, there's a little bit more unknown. Now, they're clearing more people off the grid, so it looks as though
we're getting ready.
We may well get the riders to go out again.
For another sighting lap.
I wonder if they'll send them on a quick start procedure or something like that. Here is a man down in 13.
Safety car's going
Spoke
too.
to him yesterday, and he was saying, I said to him, wet weather, flag to flag? And he basically said, normally I wouldn't say that, but perhaps that's our best chance.
Yeah, that shows where Alesia's been this weekend.
Bearing in mind, he's not a wet weather rider.
Oh, no.
No, he's not.
He's been really struggling with that different compound rear Michelin slick that they brought this weekend. They brought it to Austria and he didn't like it there, and it's got no better at this track. Can't get the bike stopped.
He averages 4 points in wet weather races. Compare that to Quartararo's 12 points, even to Pecco Bagnaia, who he's got 2.7 in wet races. So, yeah, you can see why Aleix just in the conditions that we've seen this weekend is
go Fabio.
Something different in the wet. Let's go Fabio, they're saying. I think Quartararo will relish this. I think it.
Here we go. We're going to have something.
Some of the advantage Ducati have had. It's just
start delayed. Start delayed.
There's been times it's worked, times it hasn't on that Yamaha.
Well, we've got more information now, guys. Apparently the start's been delayed again. That's what's just flashed up on my monitor. Whether or not we're going to go green, I don't know. Hug to pole sitter Marco Bezzecchi. Okay, stand up, turn your collars up, and get ready, because whatever we're about to see is going to be something very, very special. Who is going to be your race winner here in Thailand? 25 laps is ahead of us. That's the start procedure. Jack Miller warming up his tyres. Start, go! So now the warm-up lap has officially started for the Motogp Thailand Grand Prix. Let's go through how they line up on the grid then. It is Marco Bezzecchi who has pole position as well, if you can remember that far back from the long delay we've had. Jorge Martin is second on the grid as well. Third for Pecco Bagnaia. Fourth, Fabio Quartararo. They're key championship rivals, remember. Fifth for Johan Zarco, sixth for Nea Bashini, seventh for Jack Miller, eighth Marc Marquez, ninth is Luca Marini, and 10th is Alex Rins. Miguel Oliveira 11th, Brad Binder 12th, Aleix Espargaro gets put into 13th position, his worst qualifying as well of the season. Then it's Franco Morbidelli 14th, Kyle Crutchlow 15th, Raul Fernandez is 16th, Maverick Vinales 17th, Remy Gardner 18th, Paul Espargaro 19th, Alex Marquez is 20th, Fabio Di Giannantonio 21st, Takiki Nakashima as well is 22nd, Darren Binder gets put in 23rd, and Danilo Petrucci is 24th on this grid. The start procedure will be a quick one. This is the official warm-up lap, so they've gone round a couple of times. They've had all the systems that they needed to. The track, amazingly, looks dry. It's like what we had in Indonesia. The race has been delayed for an hour, and now, finally, we can get going again. There's a big rain cloud above. This is how the title permutations look. Quartararo has 219 points. Pepe Bagnaia has 201. There's an 18-point gap between them. Aleix Espargaro starts 13th. Had to win here today to keep his title hopes alive. He's 25 points back. And then we see Anaya Bastianini as well, starting 6th, also has to have the best of his conditions possible. The start procedure then is moments away. Finally, we've had a delay of over an hour. If you think to the end of the Moto2 race, it's been around about 1 hour, 45 minutes. But finally, we can get this race underway. 4 races remain in the Motogp World Championship. 18 points separate Pepe Bagnaia and Fabio Quartararo in the standings. The red flag is moved away. How long? Finally, the start procedure is underway. Lights out in Thailand. Great start from Marco Bezzecchi from the front row. Marc Marquez going to go to the outside as well. It's going to be Jorge Martin who's going to go side by side with Bezzecchi. And Martin goes off. Bezzecchi goes off. Bastianini takes the lead. They've all gone way, way wide. But it's still lots of spray as we head down to the hairpin at turn 3. It's like a special effect. Bagnaia is up into second position. Marc Marquez is attacking as well. Jack Miller going for third. Alex Rins on the outside line. Round turn 3 we go. Everyone just looks to be okay. Few little manoeuvres further back. Great start for Marco Bezzecchi as well. He takes the lead and controls it as well as we head down. This is where Songkar Chantra crashed as well this morning in the Moto2 race as well after lap 4. Alex Marquez going right round the outside and getting forced off, and Quartararo nearly going down. Quartararo got on the green AstroTurf and has dropped 3 positions. He's down to 17th. That's big news. Quartararo backs off at the start. Bagnaia goes forward. So no points for Quartararo, 20 points for Bagnaia. Bagnaia takes the provisional championship lead. This is exactly what we were fearing might happen. Another switch around from Japan a week ago was exactly what we needed. Bezzecchi leads, Bagnaia second. It's Miller in third, no jump starts. And look at that, Bagnaia now leads the title by 2 World Championship points, as I said. Perfect news as well. Quartararo down in 17th place, getting forced on the AstroTurf with Alex Rins really did cost him big as well as they head down once again to the last corner at turn 12. Boots it hard out of the tight right-hander. Boots it up as well. Aleix Espargaro is up to 11th position as well and looking good. Right, 1 down, 24 to go. Can they all make it? There's another rain cloud apparently just coming into the circuit. It's very wet out there, but it's not as wet as when we raced in Moto2. So this is perfect conditions, I think, for Motogp. It's that back straightaway through the kink at turn 2 into the hairpin at turn 3 that everyone's really worried about. The visibility further back once a couple of riders have gone through is really bad as Luca Marini sends it out the inside of Marc Marquez. Marquez shuts the door. Meantime, further back, the 2 KTMs going in battle. Quartararo tries to slip it on the inside. Rins gets on the blue paint, loses a position to Fabio Quartararo, and this is what happened with Quartararo. So Alex Marquez, that is, goes right round the outside, gets on the Astro paint. Rins comes back along and forces him onto the green AstroTurf. Marco Bezzecchi has been told to drop 1 position. That's for exceeding track limit at turn 1. So the race leader, Marco Bezzecchi, has to give way to Pepe Bagnaia. Bagnaia will now take a 4-point lead in the World Championship, maybe even more. If I can get my mathematics correct, it'll be a 7-point lead in the championship. And this is Aleix Espargaro touching the side of Brad Binder, coming through the last corner. Yeah, Bezzecchi to drop 1 position, so maybe Aleix will get told to drop a couple as well. Luca Marini has moved up to 6th position. He's passed Marc Marquez as well, so great job for him there as well. So, take a breath. Race delayed due to track conditions. What? That's not true. The TV graphics are lying to us because we're on lap 2 now. The race is very much on. And we've got Marco Bezzecchi, who now will get told via the pit bull, but they can't find it. They can't find it. They can't find Bagnaia. Look at that. Exceeding track limits at turn 1. Drop 1 grid position for Marco Bezzecchi. But he's one of the fastest riders out there. 1:47.49 for Bezzecchi. Oliveira, a 1:45.67. So that's very good job as well. And this race just keeps on accelerating as we head down through turn 2 into turn 3 as well. Bagnaia is closing. Is Jack Miller going to go have a little look as well? He is. Jack Miller's going to send it up the inside. And Miller takes second place away from Bagnaia. I've got a feeling that Jack Miller's not racing for the Ducati team, is he? He's going for the race win like he did at Motogp a week ago in Japan. So he's proper on it now as he gets caught in the wash as well of Marco Bezzecchi. There's a lot of spray coming into the apex as well of turn number 4. And this is getting very, very tricky as up the inside, Marc Marquez wants to send it on Luca Marini, nearly goes down as a result of it as well into turn 5 and 6. Nearly got a front chopped away from him there, so very close again for Marc Marquez, but he's closing in again. He started this race outside the top. I think he started 7th, didn't he, actually? He's currently P7 as things stand as well, so beautiful there. Oliveira's passed Jorge Martin, so Miguel Oliveira moves up, and there it is on the TV pictures. Bezzecchi has been reminded to drop 1 grid position. If he doesn't do that, then he will get a black flag or a long lap penalty. Probably a long lap penalty, then a black flag. That's usually how situations go. As Bezzecchi then is still not giving way. Luca Marini, his teammate though, is on the inside of Jorge Martin, trying to fight back as well with Miguel Oliveira. Drop pulse -1, been told to Bezzecchi. Has he seen it? I hope he has. There's a lot of spray now on the start-finish straight as well as Jorge Martin defends from Luca Marini. Bezzecchi still going through turn 1. Nothing's changing. Instantly involving Aleix Espargaro, and Brad Binder is currently under investigation. Now, there'll probably be a long lap penalty for Aleix Espargaro because he let it go, and Jack Miller's going for the lead. Oh, beautiful from Ducati. I now know what they've done. I now know what Ducati have done. That's why Jack Miller took the lead. He passed Bagnaia because now Bezzecchi has to let Bagnaia through as well, not just Jack Miller. Beautiful work from Ducati as now Bezzecchi will have to give it back. So it's a Ducati 1-2 effectively, where Bezzecchi has to get the position back. We'll see what the stewards say about that. But that's beautiful strategy from Ducati. They've told him to pass Miller. So Miller must have seen the board come up somewhere, past Bagnaia, knowing that Bagnaia now has to be let through by Bezzecchi. All my B's are all over the place at the moment as well as they come through. So beautiful tactics from Ducati. Jack Miller, for the second time in 2 weeks, leads this Grand Prix. He led in Japan. He won in Japan. Can he now dominate here in Thailand? Luca Marini right on the back of Miguel Oliveira as well. Oh, and he's gone down. I've done it again. I've done it again. That's the second time I've done that this season. I did it to Johan Zarco at Silverstone. I've put the commentator's curse on Luca Marini. As I said, he was going well, and he's dropped it. That's the third time in my life I've done it in MotoGP, and the second time this season. I did it to Zarco at Silverstone at the Vale Chicane, and I've done it here at turn 9 for Luca Marini. He's gone down and out of the Grand Prix. Yellows are out sectors 3 and 4, and a commentator's curse is something I don't ever like, because Jorge Martin goes very, very wide, and he doesn't lose a position, and he doesn't gain a position, crucially, as well. Jack Miller does the fastest lap of the race, a 1:40.252. He has the lead of this race, or does he? Because he's gone very, very deep, coming down into the back half of the track as well. So this isn't a good opportunity. It isn't exactly the best opportunity to dive through on the inside line, and there's all sorts of mayhem going on further back as well. Fingers crossed it's not going to be too much of a problem. Yellow sector 4 now. So something's happened at sector 4 that we're not being told about. We will definitely check up on that for you to see what it is, and hopefully it's not a bigger problem going forward. Back to you.
Quicker than Quartararo, who as it stands is still outside the points. In fact, he might need some team orders, because Frankie Morbidelli is 43 spots ahead of him.
Alex Marquez is up to 8th place, and he's lapping as fast as Miller right at the front.
Yeah, it looks like Miller, Oliveira and Marquez just having a look at the pace. They're the three that, and I mean Marquez, I mean Alex, that is. They're the three that look on it. I'm not ruling out the others that are in the mix. Because it just takes, doesn't it, a couple of laps as Oliveira.
Oh, he thought about it about 3 times. Bear in mind, he's just squeezed past Francesco Bagnaia, whilst Bagnaia was just weighing it up. Oliveira thought, I fancy another 25 points. I've won a wet race already this year. Absolutely destroyed everybody, if you remember, in Indonesia.
And now he's up into third. He's going to have a go sooner rather than later, you'd have thought. He is, of course, furious that he's not going to be kept on by KTM next year. Switches to that Aprilia squad as Bagnaia. Is he going to come straight back? He was on the nose there. Pecco is rear wheel in the air.
Well, there's some grip out there.
Yeah. They actually did say that as Oliveira comes through on the second.
Move, wasn't it? And it really took off the grid. And he laid it down there. It's opened the door for Francesco Bagnaia to get through as well.
And Bezzecchi will not be doing anything stupid behind his path. Still dark clouds loom overhead. It's Miller from Oliveira. The thunder you can hear rumbling actually at the moment is these Motogp bikes who are on lap 6 of 25. Remember Indonesia, similar kind of situation, wasn't it? Whereby Miller leading and then Oliveira closed him down and then the rest, didn't they? As the race went on, started to chip away at his lead and they ended up off the podium, in fact.
Looks like Marquez is getting held up now.
Yeah.
By Bez. Quartararo, 17th, just been passed by Maverick Vinales.
Quartararo is not a bad wet weather rider. Was on the podium in second in Indonesia. Yes, that was a very grippy track.
Yeah, it was a grippy track as well. And look at this, all sorts of action now as that's Marquez passing Bezzecchi. Alex Marquez has also passed Zarco, so they've switched positions as well. 19 laps to go. Yellow flag finally been rescinded as well as W Series had a little crash and Bezzecchi passes up the inside of Marquez. Great move there. And Marquez swings right back at him. So Bezzecchi drops back down to 5th position. Oliveira's second. He's passed Bagnaia, as I'm sure you heard from the commentary team of Gavin Emmett and Neil Hodgson. Oliveira, a 1:39.920, fastest lap of the race so far. Is Chef Kiss brilliant as Marini has rejoined the race. So the person I commentated cursed, Luca Marini, is back on the deck, which is great news as well. 19 laps to go. It's lap 7 of 25. There's Fabio Quartararo down in 18th position, scoring no points so far today. As things stand, I think Bagnaia would be level on points by finishing in 3rd. I am going to try and double check somehow. But a lot of action, a lot of anticipation, a lot of good news as well coming through. This is Quartararo then, battling with Pol Espargaro. Under braking, is this something I missed? Because Pol's passed him. And Quartararo's lead in the championship is now down to 2 points to Bagnaia. 219 Quartararo, 217 for Bagnaia. So I was correct. Bagnaia is just behind in the standings now as well by a little bit of a margin of points. And now this track, is it going to get dry in time? 19 to go. It's an easy possibility to think it might dry out. So far, I think it might be a wet race throughout this entire Grand Prix. But Oliveira, 1:39.824, fastest lap of the race so far, and he's getting extremely tasty at the front of this little battle as the race comes through. There's Jack Miller then, leading this race. He's got 0.492 gap behind. Is there going to be anything different between them under the braking zone for turn 3? All looks okay to me. Let's give you a rundown then of how things currently are as Rins passes Binder, and that's Zarco diving up the inside of Alex Marquez. Jorge Martin just behind him, so Zarco goes to 6th. Alex Marquez though gets back on the inside line, and Marquez is going to go battling with Zarco. Zarco on the Chicane gets a better exit speed, but in these wet conditions, it's literally he who dares wins to put the throttle down. Marc Marquez running in 4th position is doing absolutely wonderfully at the moment. A little bit damage of fairings underneath him. Is this how it happened? Up the inside, this is him passing Marco Bezzecchi at the last corner at turn 12. Up the inside, and Marc is akin to doing that. He did that back in 2019, of course, to the one and only Fabio Quartararo. And Marc, of course, this is the scene of his 8th and last currently World Championship he's received 3 years ago. Around about the same time of year as well, actually. As Jack Miller leads, Miguel Oliveira second, third place for Bagnaia, fourth Marquez. And the race now just starting to settle down. Let's go through the order then. As we were saying, no official retirements just yet, but Oliveira's got a great run on Jack Miller on the inside, down towards turn 12. Oliveira goes on the inside line, super low on the brakes. Miller's going to try and get the cutback. Oliveira goes wide. Miller gets the cutback. Perfect shoot on the last corner, and again takes it. And Alicia Sparrow gets a irresponsible riding, so a long lap penalty. Oliveira did a 1:39.633 on that lap, so still setting the fastest lap times, but he almost had the lead. It was a perfect overtake. So it's a long lap penalty for Alicia Sparrow for irresponsible riding. That's down, I think, at turn 8 and 9 is the long lap penalty, and there it is when he touched off Brad Binder as well just a few moments ago. But the action continuing here, and Binder, I can assume, was really, really annoyed with that. He's usually the one who bins it. Jack Miller sending down the back straightaway now, keeping good. With the length of it here, that's possibly going to take him out of the points. Long lap penalty for Alicia Sparrow. So that's from Simon Patterson, you can see on the YouTube chat just alongside us. So once again, this could be it. Rain lights have to be on, remember, and Alicia has not taken the long lap penalty now. I don't think he knows about it just yet. He'll get told by the pit board as well, because you can't see your own dashboard when the spray is this bad. Miller is holding back. Oliveira is closing. And Bagnaia is happy in third position for the moment. He's trying to save his tyres and defend from Marc Marquez. It's like it's last year all over again, back at Aragon, when these two went dogfighting with each other and probably holding it together. Quartararo leads the title now, 219. Bagnaia 2 points back. It's perfect for 2 weeks' time in Australia. When Megan rejoins the commentary box for Motogp in 2 weeks' time, she will be in for an absolute treat. At the moment, however, W Series comes first, and she's commentating on that. She might join us hopefully for the end of the Motogp, but she will be with us for Formula One later on today anyway for the 2-hour race at Singapore. Okay, Quartararo is down to 19th place now. He's been passed by Kyle Crutchlow on the With You Yamaha. So Quartararo is completely out of it. I think he might as well just park it, to be fair. He's not going to get any points, but then again, 10 out of 25, 16 to go. The rain could come back down. He could go through a little bit, so it's always worth staying out there. I'm looking at Jack Miller's front aero screen right now, and it looks okay, but it's now the problem. It stopped raining. It's the standing water on the back straightaways. That's the real issue. It's like what we saw in Indonesia. The amount of water that gets kicked up is the problem, as Marc Marquez is looking so close behind Pepo Bagnaia now. It's almost a little bit of a joke, because at the inside goes Martin on Bagnaia on Bezecchi. Martin up to 7th position, and Bezecchi down to 8th. Alicia Sparrow now does take his long lap penalty through turns 5 and 6. Just keeps it in the white line, just about. Of course, that's going to be extra wet there as well, because no one's run through it to dry it out. Comes out just alongside Alex Rins once again as well, and he's going to try and hold on the inside line. So Alicia now drops 22 points back in this. Sorry, correction, 23 points back. So Alicia's only gained 2 points on the battle to Quartararo. Quartararo not scoring any points. Alicia only going in. He holds on just about, but it really is Bagnaia who has done the money here. Quartararo, 2 out of the 3 triple header races, Aragon and here in Thailand, failing to score points is a big deal. He did score big points last time out in Japan, but it wasn't big enough, as Bagnaia now does a 1:39.566, has the fastest lap. Maverick is being told as well to put on the push and let Alicia Sparrow through for the championship. That's a pretty wise decision to take at this time as well, considering what we know now, as they all come into the braking zone, and Oliveira goes a little bit too wide. Bagnaia, as I said, he's 9.5 seconds off the best race lap record at this circuit set by Marc Marquez. Usually we do 1:29s around here, or 1:30, so the track is 10 seconds a lap slower than what it was as well. It's the first wet Thai Grand Prix as well. 2018 and 2019 were both dry, and we haven't raced here in 3 years due to COVID. So that's the problem that we are currently facing. Miller leading the way. It's got a lot of lean angle out there as well. Up at 130, 140 kilometers an hour speeds. Oliveira's going faster than him though, because he's closed it back. And that's the 49 of Fabio Di Gianantonio right on the back of Cal Crutchlow as well, as I've got a feeling Oliveira might want to take the lead again, coming through turn 12 against our own Jack Miller. This is through the 8-9, switch back into 10 and 11 now, and down in towards the last corner at turn 12. Miller's going to be ready for it. Oliveira's going to launch up the inside once again. He trail breaks him. Maybe Oliveira's going to try and get the switch back. Jack goes defensive. He will go wide this time. Oliveira can't get the cut back. Jack Miller is perfect with his positioning at the bike to defend from Oliveira. It's absolutely beautiful as Bagnaia settles into third position as well. He won't take the win just yet. He's going to try and save the wet tyres as long as you possibly can so they're good later on. Quartararo, we know he struggles in wet weather races. Remember in the race in Indonesia, but this is unbelievable. The fact he's 19th. Again, another non-scoring point. It's got a yellow flag, sector 1. Who's gone down? Who has gone down to bring out the yellow flag in the first sector? It's Gardner. Remy Gardner has crashed out. Ryder is okay, as you can see on your monitor. So Remy Gardner on the other Tech 3 KTM is out of the race. He's walking away, and it's down at turn 1. That's one of the worst positions on this track as well with the wet weather tyres. A lot of standing water down there. Morbidelli moves up to 9th position now. He has passed Bezecchi. Aleix Espargaro has now passed Brad Binder. So Aleix is back up into 13th position as the yellows still continue out down at sector 1. Now, Quartararo is up into 18th position, not 19th, but still no points. Only the top 15 gets points-paying positions, and as it stands, you can clearly tell it is not. If you're a fan of Formula 1, which I know most of you are, George Russell is starting at the back of the grid as well. Oh, Megan has remembered how to press safety car buttons. Jamie Chadwick in the W Series is stopped. Jamie Chadwick has stopped in the W Series. She will not win the championship today. That's unbelievable. Anyway, back to the MotoGP action as the yellow flag gets rescinded at turn 1 in perfect preparation for the fact that we crossed the line. We are halfway, lap 13 of 25, 13 laps to go, and Jack Miller is closing down now on the attack, and Oliveira is going to catch him. I'm reminded that recently as well, Hocus Pocus 2 came out, didn't it? And Bette Midler singing one way or another, I'm going to catch you. That's what Oliveira's chuckling to himself under his breath right now. One way or another, he will get Jack Miller, because Miller can only defend this hard for so long on that track conditions. Oliveira is a master of these. Remember last year in Austria on slick tyres is unbelievable. As Kobe's just texted me saying you can see the frustration in her body language, the fact that Jamie Chadwick has raced. A rare crash for Jamie Chadwick. That's her first ever retirement in W Series. I'll just text Megan that as well to tell her that as the safety car came out. Let's go over to BT Sport quickly.
And on News. Ultimate. The huge Clash of the Titans, that one. As we've got here now, it's wet weather Titans though, isn't it, in Miller against Oliveira. Will there be a question mark about the tyres? Jack seemed confident that the medium would last him out till the death.
Yeah, 13 laps to go. The bikes are starting to move a little bit, but there's no dry line appearing at this stage. Once that starts to peek through, it doesn't take long before...
No, this track dries incredibly quickly.
It starts to overheat again. He gets...
Oliveira's getting so close to going here for it. Oliveira on the inside line of Jack Miller. Miller's almost standing up on that bike as well into the last corner. He boots it hard. And again, 12 laps to go. It's lap 14 of 25. And this is insane. And we've got a battle brewing now further back from Viñales, Binder, Aleix Espargaro, Bezecchi, Fernandez, Rins and Pol. This is Aleix. What's he done? At turn 4. Oh, front wheel to rear wheel contact as well. And Aleix diving up the inside beautifully, taking Brad Binder, but Binder has repassed him as well. Daniel has said rear mistake. I believe she was caught out by the difference in brake bias in the Toyota cars. A lot said that the brakes feel longer than the usual cars as well. Well, what a race this is turning out to be everywhere as the spray continues to hit up here in Formula 1. As Jap up as well is said with a spanner emoji, the Australian flag thumbs up, the was it West Side or whatever, or I can't remember that one. Rain, headbutt, yeah. But honestly, Jap Up, I agree with you. Wet weather races are amazing, and I wish Megan was here, but she's covering the W Series, which is even worse, because usually she's just as energetic as this for these type of races. But this is a great race as well, as the track, honestly, what's the humidity level now? 87%. It still says it's raining, but that was a couple of laps ago, actually. Let's refresh that graphic and see if it'll change up for us. Because I think it's dry as Oliveira gets a wonderful exit on Jack Miller coming into the last corner. Oliveira dives up the inside, and Miguel Oliveira takes the lead on the Thailand Grand Prix coming out of the last corner. But Jack Miller steps the back up, has got such a great speed down the start-finish straight. Jack can't even do it. Miguel Oliveira takes the lead here at Buriram with a wonderful, wonderful advantage up the inside line, but Jack Miller's got the pace back on him down towards turn 3. Miller goes to the inside line. They're going to be side by side in the braking zone. Miller's got on the brakes. Oliveira sends him around the outside. Oliveira shuts the door. Jack's going to go wide. So's Miguel. Where is Bagnaia in this insane title fight? Is he coming to play yet? Can he come out to play? Everybody's asking the same thing. Where is Miguel? Miller to the inside. Oliveira shuts the door. Both of them, the rear of the bikes, wiggling around as well, like they're doing the hokey pokey. And they are definitely shaking it all around with that bike. Unbelievable scenes here in Indonesia. Here in Thailand. See how much we were saying about Indonesia? Wonderful scenes here in Thailand. Wonderful racing we are getting. As we get our graphics back, yeah, look at this. So it's still raining. Track temperature is 28 degrees, air temperature 26, 89% humidity as well as the racing continues on. There's big black clouds above as well. Are the rain gods going to make one more error and one more situation in this race? So, track limits warning, I'm just being told in my ears as well, for that of Maverick Vinales, and he's running in 10th. Franco Morbidelli running in P9. Now, let's just give you something. Morbidelli, I've been very critical of this year. In the last 2 races, Carl Crutchlow has outscored him on points, and that was for Carl's first 2 races back on the bike. Morbidelli's up in P9. He's doing the best Yamaha of all of them. Well done. Credit where credit's due. Fantastic from Franco Morbidelli. But this battle brewing up at the front. Miguel Oliveira, Jack Miller, the 1-2. The gap actually is 1.7 seconds now to Peppo Bagnaia. Miller gets a good exit coming out of the turn 3 hairpin. Don't think it's going to do that much, unfortunately, down the back straightaway. Can they have the opportunity for a switchback? No. And who's that moving up and down on the timing screens as well? Ozako 5th, Marquez 6th. Bastianini, that's it. Adea Bastianini passing Jorge Martin for 7th place. That's great news for Bashi to close down on the title fight as well. Quadraro still 18th, by the way. We've got him permanently on our screen up here in the comms box as well. Desperately trying to see the same situations. But this is such an entertaining Grand Prix. It was worth the hour wait we had to endure as well. And with Australia in 2 weeks' time as well, we'll be covering that race on air 3:15 a.m. Lights out will be at 4 a.m. UK time as well in 2 weeks. That's going to be insane. Then the following week we're in Malaysia, and then a further 2-week break before the last race of the year in Valencia, which I think is going to decide the World Championship. Rins gets a track limits warning as well. The only good thing is now, what this ensures is the championship cannot be decided in Australia. There's just no points left, so Australia now cannot be the title deciders. Aleix Espargaro fancies a look up the inside of Brad Binder for 11th place and takes him. So Aleix is starting to close in on the points now as well, which is absolutely fantastic news. 9 to go here. Aleix cuts back on the inside line. Binder's looking around the outside. Can they find a position for the braking zone? No, they can't. Back on the inside line, and it's a wonderful opportunity to try and cut back. Hasn't worked out. That is beyond spectacular. Absolutely fantastic. So, Miguel Oliveira, Jack Miller, Bagnaia, 1, 2, 3 as well. BT Sport.
Oliveira pushing again. We're on board with Jack Miller. Has Oliveira broken him? There's no doubting the class, or the wet weather riding class of Miguel Oliveira.
Just looks easy, doesn't it? Absolutely, totally relaxed on the bike.
Always been a smooth operator, hasn't he? Marc Marquez is challenging Bagnaia here.
What'll happen with Marquez is these conditions will come into, like, they'll come to him as it gets drier, then it feels really strange. Very difficult when the track starts to dry. There's still 9 laps to go.
There's an awful long way to go. You're right, Neil. The fronts are going to start giving away as well. Everything's going to go further back in time. This is insane. Oliveira leads, and now Marc Marquez is right on the back as well of Pepe Bagnaia, pushing hard, punching hard, aggressive, braking. Oh, and Marc was so close to dropping it through turn 1. Marquez was so close there. The front was literally just dropping away from him. He managed to lift it up and just save it. This is absolutely fantastic news here as well. With lap 18 of 25, 8 laps to go. Megan Birch is about to join us in the commentary box as well for the finale of this race, which I think is absolutely fantastic that the W Series has ended as well as they come through. And now look at this, Marquez has got such a run as the clouds start to come in over the back of the circuit. I think they're starting to rain even more as well as they come through. And Marquez is having an absolute run of it now. He's right in the back of Bagnaia. This Aaron Zarco. What's happened there? Has he taken a long lap penalty? Has he got something? Because he's the penalty issue's just been moved away from him. Maybe he's had the fastest lap. But this is absolutely fantastic racing now as we continue on. Whoa, look at that. Santi Hernandez as well. Marc Marquez's crew chief is watching on thinking, careful, Marc. You might take a podium, but it might also be a little bit of a problem as well. Come on, Marc. Get the power. Everybody watching, do you want Marc Marquez on the podium at the expense of a Bagnaia losing points in the championship? It's a will they, won't they, do or don't manoeuvre, I'm afraid. It's a bit of a situation at the moment. BT.
Situation's so difficult.
Squirm from Marquez's bike as he applied the power out of the final corner. That lost him, you know, everything that he'd gained on Bagnaia on that last lap.
Can't believe it.
Touch with him.
Zarco, 0.7 of a second faster than your leader.
This is getting tense. This is getting tense. 7 laps to go in this race as well. Can they have the opportunity to do so? Can they find it in the braking zone as well? It's still close as well. Marc can't do it. Marc backs out of it. You can hear the throatiness of these engines as well is absolutely brilliant as they push on, power on, control on. Oliveira tees it in nicely as well. Just keeping on the braking zone. And let's go to BT quickly as W Series is ending.
Like I said, it's so difficult when it starts to dry out. It's like you're riding on chewing gum, and we're not far from that feeling.
No, it's not cold out there. It is 25 degrees. It's warm. Okay, the sun might not be beating down, but it's definitely got potential to be, right at the end, a little bit scrappy. It's actually 26 degrees air temperature.
That's insane. That is absolutely insane temperature we've got right now out there on the circuit, as well as W Series has ended their race. I'm being told it was quite dramatic. I don't care. All I care about right now is this amazing Motogp race that we are having. Let's give you a rundown then with 7 to go. Miguel Oliveira leads, Jack Miller second, Pepe Bagnaia third, Marc Marquez fourth, Johan Zarco fifth, and the top 5 are all together. They are all together. It is literally a question of who is going to win this Grand Prix. It is insane. Let's go, says Zeet as well. Absolutely, this race is going to take off. And Marc Marquez could win on return. This could be insane. Andy Benito as well gives us a smiley face and the peace sign as well in the chat. Into the braking zone we go for turn 3. Rain clouds are starting to come back over the circuit. I'm not even kidding. 6 laps to go. Rain clouds over the back. And Oliveira had a moment coming out of the back half of the track as well. He too is having some issues as well. Fingers crossed it's going to be a little bit easier. Into the braking zone. Flick it through into turn 5 and 6 now. The 2 double left-hand hairpins are sort of line up to a right-hander. Turn 7. So the long lap penalty appears. Marc Marquez is right in the back of Bagnaia. What we don't need is what Bagnaia did a week ago. and drop it on the deck. We don't want that, we don't need that, and we definitely can't stomach that if he goes down on the deck like that. I don't think I want that. He needs to keep it up. He needs to take third position still. But Mark is closing down on him. Hand over fist. He's getting more and more pace, more and more time. Back on the inside line. Still can't find a way through. This is through turn 10 into the kink at 11. Now it's the run to turn 12. The quick stop hander. Is this going to be good for Marc Marquez? Can he send it up the inside as the rain clouds start to breeze in over here in Burira? Mark sends it up the inside line. Goes a bit too wide. Bagnaia gets the comeback and they shot positions. Absolutely fantastic racing here at the moment as they hold together. Marc Marquez trying to take P3 from Bagnaia as they all line up together as well to take the opportunity. This race is getting insane. This race is getting madness. And it's about time that Megan Birch joins the commentary straight from W Series as Johan Zarco lets up the inside. Zarco's trying to get the run on Marquez into turn 3. Hasn't worked out. Battle for the lead, everyone.
I accidentally cursed Chadwick. So did
all
Dad.
Right. It's all right. I accidentally cursed Luca Marini. I was saying, Luca Marini, he's up in 5th position. Oh, he's gone down.
Literally, I said the word quiet. Said, I think this race needs something, maybe a crash. I said, I'm going to say it, it's a bit quiet.
And then all of a sudden, everything
One lap later, Jamie Chadwick locks up in the weirdest way possible
the brakes. Yeah.
I think, combined with the dust, which Dad had only just explained, and crashes.
Well, we've been having a great race here. Nice to have you for the last 5 laps. Great race here. Oliveira leads. Miller second. Bagnaia third. A wet start, but Fabio Quartararo down into 18th position as Zarco looks up the inside of Marc Marquez. Marquez turns in on him at the last corners. Marquez gets forced wide. Just about stays through. Beautiful move from Johan Zarco. So, yeah. This is the order. Miller started on pole. Bagnaia. Who started on pole? Bezzecchi started on pole. Yeah. This is Mark again. Yeah, so on pole position was Bezzecchi, went wide at turn 1, was told to give the position back. Miller passed Bagnaia, so that he had to give 2 positions back. And Ducati won 2. Then Oliveira, the one of Austria last year, wet weather, slick tyres, is now leading the race. But we've had utter horrible conditions at the start, and it's starting to dry out at certain parts of the track.
For the F1 race, it's going to rain.
It's already raining. Jenny Gow's just texted me saying it's raining. So we've got a wet F1 race.
And which is great because we've only just finished the W Series and they did say rain is possible. Rain is possible.
And now we've got a great wet race ending here in Thailand for Motogp.
It's just a wet day for motorsports, isn't it?
With this result, with Quartararo not scoring any points, Bagnaia, if he finishes where he is, will take the gap down back to 2 points. So after we were despairing he crashed in Japan, he's only 2 points away from Bagnaia for Quartararo now.
Why is Quartararo having such a bad race?
He just doesn't like wet weather, does he? Do you remember back in Indonesia as well, how much he dropped back and that allowed Aleix Espargaro to win?
It's made it more exciting.
It has. It's literally been a non-stop race. 14,219 people. Another best from last weekend's best. Another best by another 3,000. So unbelievable people.
People love
watching.
MotoGP.
Absolutely. I know. Why blame him as well? Even Kobe's watching it. I've put a stream up for Kobe, and Kobe's watching from Grid. So hi, Kobe, if you're listening to our commentary as well. It's because he can't watch it live in America, so he's on the sidelines as well.
MotoGP is great.
MotoGP is great as well. And I know you've been thrust into the action here, but I didn't want you to miss the last couple of laps because it could be championship deciding.
Also, I love wet weather. Has there been any reds at all?
Moto2 got red flagged this morning, and
at least one MotoGP thing.
We did have a red flag technically for MotoGP because the track was declared red flag and it shut everything down for over an hour and 45 minutes, but nothing too bad.
Where is the checkered flag button on the thing? Also, I lost my timings after.
We don't have a checkered flag button. I haven't made one yet. I'll get on to that next season.
I pressed C and I was like, why isn't this working? The yellow worked instead of the green.
I set that up this morning, yeah. Anyway, safety car.
I lost my timings, by the way, after the thing.
Oh.
I couldn't find them.
I know, it's all problematic.
I didn't want to click something accidentally.
Well, you had 100 viewers anyway, so people did enjoy your commentary. Yay. Anyway, back to the action then at the front here for the last couple of laps. This is Bagnaia with Zarco all over the back of it. There's the championship permutations, look. With Quartararo scoring no points, it keeps Bagnaia, Aleix Espargaro, and crucially Bastianini in the hunt for the title. 3 races left, 75 points maximum, but that might be about to change as Zarco's on the run, down towards turn number 4 and 5, looks at the inside line, doesn't even get through. it's just so unsettling through the part of the track. And look at that! It's raining again! It's raining again! It's starting to rain again! Well, this is ludicrous. If there's 3 laps to go, and the rain's coming down once again, and when it comes down here, it buckets it down. It's like turning on a shower head.
Can you be surprised? I'm in the room again.
You've joined, yeah. It's going to absolutely bucket it down. This is perfect. And Formula One later.
Things like to turn into chaos when I'm around.
Formula One later is going to be even better. So do not leave the room for the last 3 laps of the Thailand Grand Prix. A race that should have been over.
Oh, it's getting heavier.
Yeah, a race that should have been over an hour and 35 minutes ago is now just starting now.
It's getting mistier and mistier.
And look at that rain cloud above the start-finish line as well. And Bagnaia might not be able to hold on here. Zarco's got much better power. Will there be team orders between the two teams? Prima, Pramac, Ducati, and the factory Ducati is, look at that. It's getting so dark in the last corner, and it is starting to rain again. 2 to go across the line here in Thailand. About 5 miles left. I don't think, look at that, it's raining again. Look at the line.
Oh, that line appeared very quickly.
It literally was like a whoosh, and it's there.
Yeah. We both saw it. It was on camera. It was just like dry, bang.
Yeah, gone, wet. Bye-bye. Not going to tell you anything. It is really getting good. A bit treacherous yet. There's lights on by the back. Marquez is closing on this little battle again, so he's not done.
Down the hill is the only thing that's dry, basically.
And there's a bit of lightning. Lightning. I saw lightning.
Oh, that would red flag it straight away.
Yeah, so are they... Well, yeah, because of Thailand. I haven't seen a red flag situation come up on the board yet. It's still green according to the timing monitor.
Maybe they're hoping that it won't get to them in time. A lot of wobbling. And they say wiggling.
Yeah, it's Jack Miller as well, coming into the braking zone at turn 4 and 5. This is 5 and 6 now, down here at the bottom half of the track. And Bagnaia just about holding back from Zarco, but...
I see a lot of people have got track limits.
Yeah, a lot of people with track limits.
Not surprised.
Well, Aleix Espargaro was told to give long lap penalties back, so he's fought back to 11th. Quartararo is now 17th, by the way. He's dropped behind Crutchlow. I wonder if that was team orders to let Crutchlow through. But look at that, dry line of the track. Zarco's trying to go on the wet patch as well, but he's made a mistake.
Ooh.
Yeah, too wide. He had to set the bike up. So Marquez is now coming into play with nearly 1 lap to go.
At least he managed to stay up.
Miguel Oliveira's already won a race this year. He won at Indonesia. No, hang on, what? Last win Indonesia 2022? When did Aleix Espargaro win? Argentina. I thought Aleix won in... Was it Argentina? I could have sworn Aleix won in Indonesia. Oh well. Oliveira has won this year, that's all I know. Maybe
those 2 races just seem to blur together for me.
Maybe my stat sheet's wrong. Either way, last lap the call. And Miguel Oliveira will win for the 2nd time this year, regardless. Woo! It will be career win number 5 in the Premier class.
Espargaro gets into 10th.
What's what? Morbidelli. And Jorge Martin drops to 9th. Morbidelli's dropped down to 12th. So I wonder what that was about. Maybe the Yamaha's trying to drop back. Vinales goes to 8th. He's repassed Martin. And Aleix down now to 11th. He's been passed by Binder. Everyone's swapping positions on that damp part of the track. And this run down towards turn 4.
Everyone's just like, you go first.
Yeah.
Test it out for me.
Exactly that. That's what was happening in lap 1 as well. Everyone darted out of the way and said, no, you go first, after you. Moto 2 had to be cancelled. It's the first time since 2009 it went to a half-distance points finish for Moto 2. That complicates things now, because now there's a decimal point to work out in the championship order.
Oh, I hated that last year with F1.
I know, luckily we don't
need decimal points.
Oh, we don't have that anymore. They removed the decimal points completely as well.
Yeah, for a reason, because it was hell.
And for somehow, after just 1 lap behind the safety car, Max Verstappen got 12.5 points.
Yeah.
Don't know why.
Easiest win.
Yeah, easiest win of his career. Well, apart from Abu Dhabi, but still. Yeah, anyway, last couple of corners, into the last sector. Well, the last time we had conditions like this was at Indonesia, and it was Miguel Oliveira who won there. Same situation here today. He's done it again. The Rain Master, Miguel Oliveira, wins the Thailand Grand Prix with a single finger of 1. P1. He won in Austria in wet conditions. He won in Indonesia in wet to dry. He wins in Thailand in wet to dry. Jack Miller 2nd. Back-to-back podiums after Japan. Bagnaia 3rd. He brings the title down to just 2 points between him and Quartararo after crashing a week ago. It's great job for Ducati. It's great job for Bagnaia as well. Zarco is 4th. Marquez finishes 5th. Woohoo! Amazing. Bastianini 6th, Vinales 7th. It's 8th on the board for Alex Marquez, 9th Martin, 10th for Binder. Aleix Espargaro fights back to 11th. Franco Morbidelli gets decent points in 12th. And then it's 13th Rins, 14th Paul Espargaro, 15th Fernandez.
2 points.
After being 18 back last week, it's back to being 2. So, one bad week for Quartararo, one bad week for Bagnaia, one bad week for Quartararo.
That was Bastianini and Bagnaia getting along.
That's a change, isn't it? Compared to what we saw in the couple of races ago, as well in San Marino and Aragon, when it was 0.039 and 0.053 as well. Yes, thanks, Megs. You can disappear now. Thanks for W Series. I'll see you for Formula 1.
What time's that?
During the commentary box, about 12:45.
12?
Yeah, race starts at 1, so 12:45. We're on here again in an hour. So in an hour's time, we're on here again for Formula 1.
Can't get a break.
I haven't had breakfast yet. Thanks,
I'm
Megs.
about to go have mine.
Good luck. Have a go for breakfast. See you later. Bye-bye, Megan. Well, what a race for everyone who stayed with us throughout that broadcast as well. Can we have your laptop back? Yes, you can. You can have your laptop back now. Don't need it now for the rest of the season, I don't think. So thanks, Megs. What a reaction. What a fantastic race. Worth the wait here at the Chang International Circuit. Miguel Oliveira wins. Jack Miller second. Pepe Bagnaia finishes in 3rd position. Let's get the thoughts of Gavin Emmett and Neil Hodgson.
This kind of record in wet weather races, just absolutely superb, peerless. What is it about Oliveira then?
Well, it is silky smooth, which that is how you ride in these conditions. And he's confident. That plays a huge part in it. He can get up to speed really quick. If you know, when it starts to rain, if you think, oh, that's brilliant, these conditions are going to work for me, mentally you're in the right place, and that's Oliveira.
Well, we were worried the rain might fall on Bagnaia's parade today because, you know, in Japan, he was nowhere. In Indonesia, when it rained, he was nowhere. Japan, of course, it was a qualifying day and he was at the back of Q2. But they've turned it around. He's turned it around. He has been a wet weather rider in the past. Again, quite a smooth rider and has always seemed to have good feel. But it hasn't worked this year.
No, not at all. I've got a theory. This man's going to be world champion because he's had a really, really average weekend. He's finished the race in 11th place and he's still only 20 points behind the championship leader. It's bizarre, isn't it? If you look at his run of form, Aleix Espargaro's from, let's say, from
Mugello, perhaps, or...
Well, even from Donington, he had a 9th from
Donington.
there. 9th at Donington. Sorry, no, at Donington, he was good at Donington. At Silverstone,
is it because of these conditions?
At Silverstone, he was 9th. After that in Austria, 6th. Then 6th at the next round in Misano. Then he got a podium. Then 16th in Japan. 11th today. And he keeps closing in on the championship. It's bizarre. Yeah, no words.
Fabio Quartararo trudges out the back of the garage and his championship has taken a big blow today. He knew it was going to be a tough weekend before the weekend. He had battled for victory here back in 2019, but was nowhere today. Who can blame him? He's won a Grand Prix yet again. The Portuguese man.
Is that his one?
Oh no! Franco Morbidelli has been given a 3-second time penalty due to exceeding track limits. So that pushes him outside the points, but it still doesn't help Quartararo. Look at that. So Morbidelli finishes 13th. Rins finishes 12th.
Won 3 more races than Brad Binder in the Premier class.
What a race this was.
Offered a ride.
I need a new shirt already.
Tech 3. I think he took that as a bit of an insult, really. And so he'll be on his way to the Satellite Aprilia next year. Tell you what, Oliveira on Aprilia looks like a good package.
It seems like a match made in heaven.
Pecco Bagnaia having a very good look at his front tyre. Paul Trevethan down there, Kiwi crew chief for Miguel Oliveira.
It's another happy podium. Oliveira's going to be pleased. Miller backing up the win from last weekend, back on the podium. He's having a good run.
Yes, fantastic.
Podium run, hasn't he now, Jack?
And Christian Gabbarini down there having a word with Bagnaia for Bagnaia. That's podium number 8 of the year. Is that right? 6, 7, 8. Yes, because obviously all his wins.
Yep,
And then there's just the second place in Aragon. His first third of the year. Well, Aleix Espargaro, a long lap loop, 5 points.
Unbelievable as well, if your name is Aleix Espargaro, to have that many points paying positions as well. Desperately thought it was going to be something different as well. So we had to wait 1 hour and 45 minutes for that. That's how long the pre-show was. And then we got the race eventually after a longer delay on the grid. And then finally we get the race win. As well, I can barely stand up. And I've got a 2-hour race to do shortly. Let's hear from the race winner show. Let's hear from Pepper back now. Finished third with Simon.
Take 16 points.
With how that day turned out in the rain.
I'm very, very happy. It's like a win for me, this podium. It's my first podium on wet, apart last year in Austria. That was a mix of combinations, so I'm very, very, very happy. I want to thank Jack that before the race gave us to me a motivational chat. We speak it a bit, and I'm very, very happy.
Congratulations.
Gavin? Yeah, let's hear from Jack.
2 weekends in a row on the podium, Jack. What a ride.
Thanks, mate. Yeah, I was pushing hard then, to be honest. I really didn't give up on that victory till the last lap. I was struggling a lot in the last sector. I just couldn't get the thing in those flowing corners. I just couldn't get enough grip, and Miguel had a really good grip through there. But I gave it a good crack. There was a bit of a dry line forming, and I ran out, and that was sort of my show over. But no, Miguel rode flawlessly out front there. You know, I pushed away for a fair bit of the race there, and it's a not easy task in these conditions, like when you're first one on the road and trying to understand your braking markers and everything. So hat off to him. Pecco did an amazing job, you know, to bounce back after struggling in the wet the other week. So yeah, I think we've managed to close myself down in the championship as well. I think the gap, I think we've kept that alive at least. On to Phillip Island, baby, but first things first, go and get married. So very happy.
Great job, Jack. Congratulations. Miguel, again, a flawless job in the rain. How hard was it to keep concentration like that for that distance?
Yeah, it was for sure a long race, but yeah, I can't complain. Every time we get a chance to ride on the wets, I'm always super fast, and for sure this race, when it started raining, I had flashbacks of Indonesia kind of, but I tried to keep the feet on the ground and make a good start, not make mistakes, and carry the bike to the end. Super happy with this end of season win, although if it's in the wet, it's not in the conditions where we prefer to win, but anyway, I'll take a win in any condition.
Awesome job, Miguel.
Save me, Natalie, down to you.
Well, any predictions, any expectations that we had coming into this weekend were completely ripped up before the green light eventually went out here in Thailand. But Michael, I'm going to come to you first because you called it Miguel Oliveira.
We know how comfortable he is in the wet. Whenever he performed like that in Indonesia, then the same in Motogp. The KTM works, you could see the grip he had, the extra bit of turning over the Ducati. We've thought about Jack Miller over the years, that he makes the difference as a rider, but today, Miguel and KTM, what a combination. They were sensational. They just, especially that turn 11, just as more grip, more traction, more turning, setting up the overtake on Jack. Easy for him to make a pass into there, and it was all set up from the run out of the turn 11. So yeah, the KTM was working well, but Miguel, flawless, never put a foot out of line, and so difficult to do leading the pack over 25 laps around here.
Yeah, we thought he might be struggling a little bit towards the end, Sylvain, but how impressed were you with what Miguel did in those conditions today?
Yeah, very good. Doesn't make it easy there. You know, when the track is drying like this, you start to have a lot of tire movement, and it's also, you have to tire manage basically. We've seen Miguel really controlling the race, and he was using, you know, his strength. He could see his strength behind Jack. That corner speed that he was able to carry from turn 5 and all the way in the last 2 splits. So he rode really, really well. Very intelligent ride, very controlled, no mistakes, and thoroughly deserved.
This race has had huge implications for the championship, of course. And do you think Zarco may have played a little bit of a role in that?
Honestly, it looked like he did. He tempered his aggression for sure the last 2 laps. whenever he was going forward and thought he had a chance at the win, you could see how hard he was pushing this move on Marc Marquez. He just came on 2 riders at a moment when he needed clear track to get across to the lead 2. He was the man with the pace. And then in those last 2 laps, I think he possibly could have had an attempt, maybe made an overtaking manoeuvre at least on Pecco, but he was thinking of his Ducati contract. He was playing the game.
A little bit of a French kiss there. French peck to Marc
Yeah, that was good.
Marquez.
I mean, I was getting really, really high hopes there because he was so much faster at some point.
He was motoring towards the end, wasn't he?
Yeah, again though, Johan, we know he's really strong when the track is dry like this. Very good at managing the tyres. The tyres have this tendency when it's not so wet to overheat a little bit, and then you start losing performance. I think he pushed really, really hard to get up to Marc and Pecco, and then when he finally sat behind Pecco, the mix of having really pushed on the tyres, and the tyres maybe, you know, like going up in pressure a little bit, and also thinking of the championship and maybe a Ducati contract, you know, in the future.
Let's talk about Fabio, because well, it was a disaster, wasn't it, right from the start for Fabio. This is a huge blow to his title chances, isn't it? And it all happened by going wide on that first lap.
Yeah, unfortunately giving away 12 positions on the first lap. So he'd done all the hard work in qualifying, made sure he was within striking distance. But even watching the lap times throughout the race, he was generally about half a second slower than his teammate Frankie. Not the fastest Yamaha out there today, never mind being able to challenge the Ducatis. A crucial blow in the championship. It's now down to a 2-point lead. It's tough for him to take. No points on the board today. It was a tough race, and yeah, he's going to be feeling a little bit disappointed tonight.
Yeah, it didn't look too happy. I mean, there was a lot of discussions, of course. We had a long delay to, you know, in the build-up to this race, and Aleix, we saw, clearly wasn't happy. I wonder how Fabio was feeling, whether he didn't fancy it today.
Just looked like he was struggling for side grip. It looked like he was really, really going into the corners, hesitating, not feeling the grip, not feeling. You need to have that, you know, on the apex to feel like the bike will steer, you know, with the rear, and it just looked like he couldn't do it. Took him ages to get up to speed, and even though, like Michael said, he was slower than Frankie, so yeah, it didn't happen today. But what, like a week, what the difference it makes, you know, Pecco being struggling last week in the wet, while Fabio was really shining, and then he's completely around here. So you just have to, it shows you that the margin is so small. You have to adapt. You have to have that confidence. In the wet, it's all about the confidence and that side grip.
Yeah, you know, he would have given it absolutely 100%, as he always does, Fabio Quartararo. Just not his day at all today. Aleix Espargaro also in that title race, and really was not looking forward even before the rain came down because of the trouble that Aprilia have been having. And then he was given a long lap penalty for this move on Bradburn. Was that a little harsh, Michael?
It was, but we didn't see what led to it. If he hesitated trying to make an overtake, he couldn't pull it down, couldn't grab the brake any harder, otherwise he may have tucked the front, took both riders down. So long lap penalty, it's probably deserved when you push another rider on like that, make that type of contact. He rode well, had to fight Binder the rest of the race, and pulled back some strong points in the end.
Yeah, that's the bonus, really, because he managed to salvage some points, Sylvain.
Yeah, well, we know he's a fighter. I think the penalty, you know, the stewards, they have to try and have some kind of consistency, you know, when Fabio took, you know, crashed in Assen and kind of ruined a little bit Aleix' race, even though he was able to come back. He did get, you know, a penalty for the next race. So, yeah, it's a tough one, unfortunately, for him. Still a very good race, though. If the race would have been dry, I think he would have lost out more than that.
Okay, well, you can hear the thunder and there's lightning all around as well. But let me hand you back to Gav for the presentation.
Podium ceremony gets underway then here for the Motogp Thailand Grand Prix. It's been a bit of a weird one. It's been a quick one as well. The advisor to Minister of Tourism as well presents KTM, Red Bull KTM, with their trophy for the Constructors' Championship. The podium here is different because it's literally in the middle of a field and it's opposite the main grandstand, so that everybody in the grandstand can see the podium on the other side of the track. It's very good. I like that. Bagnaia then finishes in 3rd position and gets podium number 18 of his Premier Class career as well. It's podium 41 overall across the 3 classes he's done of Moto2 and Moto3. Jack Miller across 125cc, Moto3 and MotoGP. It's his 32nd career podium. His 22nd podium in the Premier Class of MotoGP. First last week, 2nd this week. Not bad from Jack Attack. But for Miguel Oliveira, who won in exactly the same situation at Indonesia in round 2 of the season will win again here in Thailand. Victory number 5, the high fives all the way round. It is 17th podium across the 3 classes for Oliveira. Podium as well, number 7 in Motogp, and podium 41 overall. We will hear time! If you weren't wet already, you are going to be now. Everybody gets sprayed with the podium being so low here to the ground. It's a fantastic race win for Miguel Oliveira. A fantastic podium for Ducati as well. They now close up to Quartararo in the Drivers' Championship. Just 2 points separate them as well. Unbelievable. Let's take a look then at how this race finished here in MotoGP's Buriram for the OR Thailand Grand Prix. Miguel Oliveira takes victory here as well, just in the same conditions he did in Indonesia. Jack Miller finishes second as well after leading most of the race. Pepe Bagnaia finished a very impressive third and closes down the title hunt. Johan Zarco finishes fourth. Marc Marquez finishes fifth. Andrea Bastianini finishes in sixth. Maverick Vinales is seventh. Alex Marquez finishes in eighth. It's ninth for Jorge Martin. Brad Binder rounds out the top 10. Aleix Espargaro just keeps in the title hunt by finishing 11th. Alex Rins is 12th. Franco Morbidelli 13th. Paulo Espargaro is 14th. Raul Fernandez is 15th. 16th on, and the last points paying position, I might add. Marco Bezzecchi from pole position dropped down to 16th. Fabio Quartararo out of the points in 17th. Fabio Di Giannantonio is 18th. Cal Crutchlow 19th. Daniel Petrucci is 20th. Damon Binder 21st. And Tsuyoshi Nakashima is 22nd. Luca Marini 23rd. And the only retirement from a crash was Remy Gardner in 24th. In the live world standings, this is how it looks. Fabio Quartararo leads on 219 points. Pepe Bagnaia is on 217. Just 2 points separate them. Closing in as well, 20 points back, is Aleix Espargaro. Oh yes, he's still very much in the hunt now as well. And Andrea Bastianini is on 180 points. He's now 39 points back. He will be eliminated next time out, unless he can get the points. 3 races to go, remember, as well. Outside of that, Jack Miller also now puts himself in the title hunt. 179 points. He's 40 points back. So a 4-way title fight has now become a 5-way title fight. Realistically, it's a 3-way fight. This is getting entertaining. Loads of permutations to think about as well. Marc Marquez finally moves ahead of Marco Bezzecchi, though, 84 points, and he's closing down on Luca Marini as well. And further down, still 3 points for Cal Crutchlow and still 2 for Stefan Bradl. So that's it then, folks. That's it. We're back in Australia on air in 2 weeks' time as well. In the 16th of October, we'll be on air at 3:15 British time as well in the morning. It's lights out at 4 a.m. It's an early start for me and Megan as well, but at least actually that's the only thing we got on that day, so it'll be a nice rest. Join us in 45 minutes time. Yeah, it's a quick turnaround as well. 45 minutes time. You can join us once again for the Singapore Grand Prix. It's due to be a wet one. Where have I heard that before? And just like a good fairy tale, it started raining again in Thailand. We just missed that, didn't we? Got the racing in the end. Thanks to everybody for watching. Join us later for Formula One. Good night to you all from Thailand.